Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the VIS Professional League as we get underway here for day number 2 of our summer season. It has been an exciting tournament so far, and we're just getting started as the round of 16 is going to be going on for the rest of this week up till Friday. So we're bringing you guys the next 2 series that are going to be taking place here tonight, and they're actually going to be pretty exciting ones with a lot of implications, with some exciting new roster changes to talk about as well. We're all excited to get into it. Joining me tonight, Denamine and Sean Ostino, both joining me again tonight. And of course, Sean Ostino, after his debut cast, I want to make sure you guys all give him a warm welcome here again for today. All right, so let's get into it, Day, as we start taking a look at the brackets so far, where we've kind of come from. We've had a lot of exciting matchups. Specifically, yesterday, Immortals took on Fable GG. That was no surprise. Tribe Gaming, though, taking out NRG in a very, very close 3-game series, going all the way to 3 games. That one really looked like it could go either way. And now, of course, we come into today. We're finishing up this side of the bracket with Gangstars versus Team FF later, FV later today. And one of the things I want to talk about, Denamine, maybe you may not be aware of this yet either, is but we do have a new carry coming on to Gangstars for the interim, for this season at least, to finish up summer. Lulu is coming back to North America to play on Gangstars, and you guys may know he actually played with Xenotech on a Phoenix Reborn roster several seasons ago.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting change-up, not having Iraqi there, who's really been a key player for them for quite some time. Going to be a little bit of an interesting change-up. Obviously, we still have Mac Daddy and Xenotech on the roster, right. So definitely Xenotech going to be looking to carry his team through this. You know, maybe a little bit of loss of synergy, not having Iraqi there, right. A little bit of loss of leadership. But I mean, when it comes down to a skill matchup, this is a very high-skill roster, so it'll be definitely difficult if FV wants to take some games off Gangstars today. Yeah,
it'll be interesting, but, you know, Lulu and Xenotech have played together. Now, granted, Lulu is Chinese. He strictly speaks Chinese, but he is a very strong carry. We'll have to see how that plays in. Mac Daddy still is a support there. Iraqi may sub in. He may play some of these games, actually. We don't know just yet, but getting into today's matchup first, the first one we're going to get into, it is going to be Echo Fox versus Autumn Leaf. Now, there's a lot to say about Autumn Leaf's roster. They do have some known players. RN Prodigy has had some very strong matchups. I'm not sure if he's going to be playing here in game number 1, but Echo Fox has just come off a very successful challenge season where they got #1 seed and are now flying to LA in just a few weeks for that Challenger Cup.
Yeah, ought to be exciting to see them both tonight, and then obviously going forward in a couple of weeks here in that Challengers Regional Cup, which I do believe Dragonborn will be on day 3 of the event before the finals, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, it'll be earlier in the day too. So Sunday is going to be, normally it's a shorter day by some measures, but actually will be a little bit longer because you'll have that Challenger Cup right in the middle. But it's been the first time we've actually seen a top Challenger team face off against a top North America versus Europe Challenger team, in a way where, you know, it's not the top Vainglory 8 teams, but they are very strong. Echo Fox arguably was a very good roster even when they were in Vainglory 8. So, you know, when they got knocked down, a little unfortunate for them, but it looks like they were able to redeem themselves there in Challengers in that final split. And, of course, we're going to be watching them play again here today to see if they can take home the VIS Summer Season Championship as well.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, they are going up against Team Queso in that Regional Challengers Cup as well.
Correct. So, yeah, kind of 2 big fan favorites. 2 franchised orgs, 2 really
2 teams that have been right on the edge, too. I mean, they were right there at the edge of the VG8, and I think it was only 1 game that kept Queso out. So definitely a team that can compete up there with the top 8 of EU. And obviously, like you mentioned, Fox just dropped down out of the Vainglory 8, but then had such a great performance in the VIS Challenger League. That ought to be a pretty exciting matchup we don't want to miss. And today could be a little bit of a taste at what Echo Fox can bring to the table.
Yeah, and one of the players I want to highlight, our X factor for this, it's for me, it is Selena Gomez. This guy has been an absolute powerhouse, as we do have a technical difficulty there with our overlay. We'll get that fixed out. But Selena Gomez has come onto this roster, and he really helped carry Echo Fox to, I think, a stronger skill cap for them. Like, I really think he improved overall the team's efficiency, how they play. You know, hero pool's still something that we have to keep an eye out for, but I think overall Echo Fox has looked stronger at the end of this season.
Yeah, he brings a new level of aggression to the table that we haven't really seen out of Echo Fox for some time. So I definitely think it's a little bit of a unique change for them. And it looks like we are getting into this draft here, Dragon.
Yep, we're getting ready.
Do we think we'll get to see a Selena Gomez Kestrel this game? Oh, why did that come through there? Hold on, I'm fixing things.
Yeah, don't worry, don't worry. We'll get right into it. So just get that fixed on your end, and then let's talk a little bit. First ban is Grace. Now, what we've seen as yesterday is Catherine is typically the next ban, which it is. We saw Lyra banned or picked now in this A side position, with a few exceptions. I mean, the possibility of them. Oh, wow, Echo Fox picking Adagio. Now, Dave, why would you pick Adagio over Lyra? In this circumstance, Adagio, I believe, received minor buffs in the last update.
I'd have to go look at the exact numbers.
Nothing noticeably large, though.
I think Adagio, in particularly, is a good pick here on A side for Echo Fox, just because of the flexibility he does bring. Obviously, he can be put in that captain role, but he can also be a very strong and very pressuring laner with his own sustain, as well as getting that DOT damage tick onto an enemy if they get a little too close to the minions. So there's, you know, we talked about it last season. The flexibility game is the way you win draft. Keep the opponents guessing what you're doing. That is now going to be a Lyra picked up for the B side.
Yeah, and it's rare to see Lyra make it to B-side there through the first round of drafts, especially when Grace is taken away. Adagio has more flexibility in the draft than Lyra, and so at this point, you know, you can't really say for sure how Echo Fox is going to play this Adagio in the lane or in the support fashion. Celeste could be coming out here. Echo Fox has, you know, with the support already off the board, they have the chance now to take away the Vox or the Idris. Audibly likely get one of these, but we have seen those two heroes prioritized in this draft. Or do you take away like a Baron so that you can just switch between the Idris and the Vox?
I almost want to say, just off of the roster that Echo Fox has, I almost say you can safely ban away a Glaive here in the hopes that you can get Kestrel for Selena Gomez. They do ban away the Idris. That works as well, too. Again, I really think Echo Fox has baited out that Lyra. Kestrel is pretty strong into Lyra because obviously Lyra doesn't really make the strongest frontline hero as this captain. So a couple Glimmer shots can force a lot of cooldowns for Lyra to burn on herself. And then with the War Treads engagement out of Echo Fox, they could make a very strong engagement to follow it up. So that's something that obviously we're going to have to think about here. Again, one of Selena's top heroes, Kestrel. So that's, you know, there are some strong picks on the table still, like the Vox.
Kestrel, yeah, I was going to say the Vox.
You can play the Vox as well.
Yeah, so. I think you take the Vox in this circumstance because you're going up against heal. They go with the Scarf instead, which could be flexed into the jungle or the lane. Audibly likely playing with somewhat of a more unique composition. You know, this is a lower seed team. You know, did actually play pretty well in the Challengers last season, Denominate, but you know, not necessarily, you know, going to be able to just stick to a more standard composition here.
There's the Kestrel.
With the Kestrel now, you could actually flex the Kestrel into the jungle and pick up a Vox here still, which I think would be a very strong, you know, damage overall output composition. Plus, Audibly, you know, could also still pick up the Vox and flex that Scarf in the jungle.
They definitely could, and again, Selena is very known for his Kestrel. It definitely can be flexed down into that crystal position. Will offer that same kind of poke to Lyra, but they're instead just going to go with a very heavy siege composition. This is something that EA really brought to the table. Samuel, really to win here, Samuel needs to get his farm cleared, rotate up, and spend as much time in the lane as he can. Force that glaive in, because it's very likely going to be a lane glaive. And make it difficult for him to safely farm. It'll force him back underneath turret, and then the Kestrel, the Weapon Power Kestrel, and the Samuel should just be able to barrage down that turret in the hopes to get a early advantage and not let this Scarf and Glaive get to a powerful point in their build.
Yeah, and I do like the Glaive last pick in this composition. Glaive, although he likes to go in and there's the risk of getting stunned or taking a lot of damage, sometimes we'll see Glaives often boots in, use the Afterbird to get out of the sticky situation. So he has a potential to be a very good front line with Scarf, and that's what you really want to see. I don't know, the Lyra really kind of got drafted around here. The Kestrel and Samuel can poke right around Lyra, where Lyra's just not going to be as an effective front line, to help keep that squishy Scarf alive. So I do like what Echo Fox did with the support play, but they got to be a little careful and deal with the Glaive accordingly, because if you catch the Glaive out, they could definitely punish him.
Yeah, they absolutely could. There's going to be a lot of brunt force damage coming through. We know how strong those Glimmer shots from a weapon Kestrel can be. I believe it is 130% weapon ratio once you do have that 5th point put into the Glimmer shot ability, as well as Samuel with that empowered Malice Verdict coming through can force Glaive back. And then, yes, Scarf can ramp up in the fight, but, Scarf's going to be about getting a lot of poke damage, building up those broken myth stacks. So if you end the fight early, if you are Echo Fox, then it makes it a little bit more difficult for Scarf to get that damage down, to get those stacks built up, because he's going to be running on the back foot. So it does prevent you from chasing. But yeah, forcing Glaive out of the fight early is really what we need to see out of Echo Fox.
Yeah, and I'd actually even argue that, you really, on Echo Fox's side, can just wait for the Glaive to initiate, play around that. The Scarf is going to have a hard time getting into position, especially with Samuel, like more of a retreating poke position. You're really going to have a hard time. Adagio is typically a backline of support anyway, so it's really going to be dangerous actually getting on top of this composition. We're actually heading into the draft, or I'm sorry, into the game right now, so I'm going to kick it over to our casters, Sean, Astino, and Denominate. Take it away. Well, I mean, they'll be jumping in here in just a few seconds as we should be getting ready for this game here. Day looks like, as we jump into the action, already starting out with some engagement here early. Echo Fox looking to kind of push all the way into the side, start counter farming around the gate, paying a little bit with damage, so you gotta be careful. Actually, we see Scarf already moving very heavily on to Selena Gomez and Slata, and they're not even going to get the treant for that. So this was a really risky play by Echo Fox. Did not play out at all.
Really risky play for Echo Fox, and now Selena's getting caught out here. It is going to be BlueStacks credited with kill number 2. First blood is going to go on to Lyra, so going to accelerate getting that fountain into the game. And, what was looking like an aggressive push there from Echo Fox did turn around in their face a little bit there. Obviously, Adagio and Kestrel this early on in the game don't really have any way to escape, Sean.
No, they don't. And it's one of the big win conditions that we're already seeing is that we got to have Lyra. She's got to be able to get level 2, and looks, she's already there. She's got the Bright Bulwark that's going to allow for good disengages. But she's going really low. Yeah,
Lyra does get taken down, and we might see some more aggression again. The Samuel really needs to stay rotated up. Sean, what is really the win condition here out of the side of Autumn Leaf, though?
Well, I feel like Autumn Leaf just needs to keep. They just need to keep doing what they're doing here.
And
They're already keeping the pressure.
VIS goes in, and Edwin is going to pick up the 3rd kill for the team, and that is now 3 kills for each of the members of Autumn Leaf, with only 1 being on Irwin for the side of Echo Fox. And now BlueStacks looking to be aggressive here, trying to come down and steal this farm, and with Lyra, he should be able to. That Twisted Stroke does clean up the farm, and Irwin is going to be now forced back. But as BlueStacks rotates up, he finds a good afterburn onto Slata. Will he find the kill? He does! He takes a couple turret shots, but with Lyra here with that Imperial Sigil, we'll get him a little bit topped up, and now going to rotate back down through his jungle.
Wow, this is turning out to be a great start here for Autumn Leaf, and they're meeting with their win conditions already. So Glaive, he's got to be doing these afterburns here. He's doing it well. Lyra is keeping him healthy with those sigils, and it looks like he still hasn't gone back to buy any items. He's still sitting on that double weapon blade, but he's got 1,900 gold, so he's going to be able to fort back and maybe get a few more items to hit some more power spikes.
Yeah, but it looks like they might be rotating up here to get another aggressive push, but the wave is a little bit pushed onto Edwin's side. Again, this is going to be the lane scarf, so we'll get the gold faster, but maybe not the levels to get that Dragon's Breath out as quick as we'd like. BlueStacks does recall, picks up the tension bow. This is going to be a huge spike coming out of Glaive, and now Fox rotating up, but with no wave, the Samuel's not really going to be able to get that pushing power.
Yeah, this is the first Tier 3 item that we're seeing coming out for BlueStacks, so it's going to be...
Oh, BlueStacks going in, though! Doesn't quite find Selena Gomez. He is going to make it out with just a sliver of health, but that is going to force him to miss some farm as the side of Autumn Leaves are going to very likely be pushing this in as fast as they can. Irwin rotating up, finding some good Malice and Verdicts, though, brings Kelbas very, very low. BlueStacks sitting at about half health as well. Now going to rotate down and look for those treants to top his health up. And now Kelbas has to be very careful as he's going to be the only one in lane as Edwin is recalling to get that Frostburn. And Selena Gomez is now back into the lane, so a little bit of an advantage in farm in the jungle for Irwin, but not anything that's game-changing. So looking on at Glaive here, what do you think we're going to see come out of this Glaive build? We already have the tension bow, but where does he need to go to finish his offensive items?
I feel like what BlueStacks actually needs to do is actually go towards a Sorrow Blade, so we can go ahead and get even more burst damage.
Oh, and BlueStacks is going in. Selena Gomez drops very quickly. The Malice and Verdicts don't come out quick enough as the time Irwin spent casting that Drifting Dark. And that is now 5 kills up for Autumn Leaf, 5-1. Not much of a gold lead to speak of, though. They haven't really been able to push too much off of those small victories they've had.
No, they haven't. But you know what? They're meeting their win conditions here really well. We actually already see Edwin with that Frostburn on the Scarf, and that's going to allow him to slow his targets even more, to kite them better. And that's one of the things we know about Scarf. He's really squishy, so he needs to maintain a good gap between him and the enemy team.
Yeah, but now we have Kelbas rotating back up here into the lane, cleans out some vision, but here Edwin is in that Frostburn Scarf, now going to offer a lot of utility from the slow of just hitting with that Spitfire as well as the Goop. And actually BlueStacks looking to make another aggressive rotation up here, going to find some more vision. Looks like Fox is just going to have to be careful rotating back up. Selena Gomez did purchase a flare of their own. And now with all 6 members of this game in here in the lane, BlueStacks taking a very aggressive position, looking to find Selena Gomez, but he is going to rotate to get the ambient gold in the backs. Actually, he's going to come back up as the wave is going to be here soon. Wow, this has been a pretty impressive game out of Autumn Leaf so far.
Yeah, and it looks like BlueStacks is doing what we would expect him to do once they get that wave pushed up. He's actually rotated down. I'm surprised he didn't...
Irwin rotating up, though, Drifting Dark, bringing Kelbas very, very low. Not quite able to find it. Oh, but Selena Gomez gets punted underneath the turret by BlueStacks. And Edwin drops too. BlueStacks, last member alive on his team, might be able to find Slada. Oh, but he's in a dangerous position as Irwin now coming to look and find some damage. Will he be able to make it out? The boots are used by Irwin. He does find the kill. It is not quite an ace, though. They might be able to get some damage down on this turret. Actually, they are just going to choose now to rotate down through the jungle. And Kelbas may be looking to steal this farm away. Ooh, I don't know if he quite got it. He did. So that is going to be a little bit of some saved farm there by Kelbas. So good play out of this Lyra.
He does, and you know what? Fox went really aggressive there, Denominate. They're able to take the fronts, so that gives them a little bit more gold in the pocket to still maintain a pretty close net worth lead, or not lead rather, but they're just 300 behind. So they just, with this composition, they just have to maintain their distance because we know that BlueStacks has got that afterburn that allows for such a good gap close for him.
Yeah, now as Autumn Leaves takes this gold miner, it is going to be Fox trying to push down this turret. Trading a permanent objective for a temporary objective is usually a good win for you. But with the rotation out of Autumn Leaves here, they're not quite going to find it. One shot, one kill is burned on the turret. And now as BlueStacks is here in the lane, might be looking to find a good afterburn. Kelbas being poked out by the Glimmer shots and those Malice and Verdicts, though, going to be forced back. And I'm not sure Fox has the safety net here to actually be able to push this turret in. They don't. BlueStacks here waiting, still looking to be aggressive. You have to be careful, though. Fox found a couple good kills in that last fight.
They did, and you know what? Actually, burning that one shot, one kill may have not been the best thing for Fox. They should have maybe waited until BlueStacks, Kelbas, or Edwin was actually low, and then used it afterwards.
Slata dropping very, very low from the Goop and the Spitfire, though. Erwin coming in with a Drifting Dark, very aggressive, very forward, is able to find a lot of splash damage, not quite able to find Kelbas or Edwin, but he does put them in a situation now where they're going to be forced back. And this is an opportunity now if, it doesn't look like they're going to stay in the lane. I was going to say, if they stay in the lane and push down this turret, that could be a good burst of gold in their pocket, as Autumn Leafs does still have a little bit of a gold advantage.
Yes, they do. And I feel like Fox is really not meeting with their win conditions right now. They're almost there, and I really want them to poke a little bit harder and get a little bit more aggressive. But Erwin did a really good job in that last fight. He didn't get the kill, but he was actually doing really good with poking Kelbas with those Malice and Verdicts that were empowered.
Yeah, and the Spitfire does find Selena Gomez as well as the Goop, but this double, the sustain out of the Adagio here, gonna top him up a little bit. He just has to be a little bit careful of taking too many Spitfires. A lot of good lane clear here out of the side of Fox. But a lot of sustain. BlueStacks is going in, finds an afterburn. Not quite the one he was looking for, though. And now Fox is coming in looking for the fight. Selena Gomez almost finds Edwin in the lane. BlueStacks, will he find Slata? He's going to boots out, but he's going to be right in the hands of Selena Gomez. And the afterburn comes out and saves his life. And oh my gosh, Edwin with a great Spitfire and Goop is going to find Selena Gomez going a little too aggressive looking for those extra kills. But now it's Erwin looking to be aggressive here. The Malice Inverter comes out, not quite finding Kelbas. And now Erwin in a dangerous situation with BlueStacks here. Will he get the kill? He does. Corrupted Genius cleans it up. And now Edwin very, very low. Has to be careful as well. Erwin not looking to back off quite yet. Looking to find a couple more Malice and Verdicts here. Drifting Dark coming up in 2 seconds. He might be able to find it if he places a good Drifting Dark. Will he do it, though? It does look like he's just going to rotate back down as Selena Gomez is now in the lane. And Edwin has to be very, very careful here. Oh, those minions body blocking. The Glimmer shots are going to save Edwin's life. And he is now forced to recall and spend some of the 2,600 gold that he has sitting in his pocket right now. He does pick up the Eve of Harvest basically outright. And Erwin, next time he makes it to shop, will be picking up that Broken Myth.
See, those were some really interesting fights coming out in the lane right there. And we actually see that turret going down. Erwin was meeting his win conditions. He was throwing out those empowered Malice and Verdicts from distance. And the only thing that I didn't like, what we actually saw, was he got too close to BlueStacks. That glaive is just too tanky for him, and there was too much damage coming out of him. He barely got away by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, but cleaning up that turret does once again bring the net gold to a very negligible amount, only 100 or 200 gold right now. So, we've seen Autumn Leaves taking, 1,000 gold lead here and there throughout this game, but Fox has been doing a good job bringing it back. But now Slade in a dangerous position. Afterburn comes out of BlueStacks. The captain is not really the one you want to try to pick out. Oblivion comes through, finds Kelbas. Will the Malice and Verdicts finish him off? Oh, not quite. Fountain is used to save his life, and now Fox is going to start up this gold miner as Kelbas did burn literally everything trying to get out of there safely and has actually gone with an Aegis to try to protect himself. But now Autumn Leaves coming back in for another aggressive engage. BlueStacks, good afterburn. Not quite enough, though. Those Glimmer shots come through and do find BlueStacks, and now the Dragon's Fire out on Erwin. The Spitfire comes through and cleans up the kill. Will Selena be able to find a kill of his own? He does, but will he burn out? Is so low. Slata is going to drop. Oh, no, he's not. Good. Oh, Selena. Selena comes back in and bursts down Edwin in that last little bit of health. That is going to clean up an ace for them, and they're going to be able to push this wave up here into the turret. I don't know if they'll be able to do too much off it, though, because BlueStacks is now alive. What an incredible fight for Fox.
That is exactly what we need to see out of Fox. We need to see this range advantage come in, all this damage. We're starting to see the Kestrel come online with all of her burst damage from her Glimmer shots.
And they do actually get the turret off of it, as well as Selena finds a stun. And, that's kind of what we were talking about at the beginning of the game, is the glaive, if he afterburns in and doesn't find a good target, he is very susceptible to all those Malice and Verdicts and the Glimmer shots that are going to come through him. And, man, that fight went very, very quickly in Fox's favor.
Yeah, and it's 12 minutes, 50 seconds here into the match, and we're actually seeing just a little bit of a gold lead now for the side of Echo Fox. And this is good. This is good. They're evening up the kills here. They're hitting really hard with these glimmer shots coming out of Selena Gomez. Edwin needs to be, for the side of Autumn Leaf, Edwin really needs to focus down and put Goops and Spitfires onto a particular target, because he seems to be hitting just whoever comes in front of him.
I do want to touch on the builds a little bit here before a fight breaks out. We do have a clockwork coming out of Edwin here on this Scarf. How do you really feel about what path the Scarf has taken? Do you think he needs that much cooldown, or would you have liked to seen him go into a little bit more damage to try to get some additional poke down?
I would have preferred he go for Broken Myth, actually. So the Frostburn's good because he's going to be able to kite his targets well. But the Clockwork, it's something I would have probably gone for a fourth item. We don't see that much shielding coming out of the side of Echo Fox, but I seriously would have went for a Broken Myth instead.
Yeah, especially with that Broken Myth, being able to ramp up your actual crystal power in the fight is huge. Will we see a fight break out here, though? A couple Spitfires come through, landing on Irwin and Selena. Now Slata dropping very low himself. Very aggressive portal comes in. Will he get the stun? Selena does not quite find what he's looking for, but does get some good damage down in return. BlueStacks taking the portal back to safety, allowing Edwin to get some poke here. But it does look like both teams are now going to back off, as Selena is very low on energy as well. So both teams looking to rotate up into the lane here now, but the aggression is not over. Kelbas does take a couple glimmer shots to the face. Edwin just missing with a Spitfire, finds one onto Irwin, though. This is such a risky fight for the side of Autumn Leaves. If we get a wasted bulwark, that Arcane Passage is down. One shot, one kill also available. Selena with no energy, though, has to be very careful here. And here comes BlueStacks. He goes in. Afterburn finds the kill onto Slata. And just like that, Autumn Leaves does find a little something for their time and gets some good damage down on this turret as well. Now Irwin drifting dark down. Malice and Verdict's coming out. Has to be very careful. The Afterburn is overdriven. It is already back up off of cooldown. And now it looks like Autumn Leaves may be looking to push in this turret.
Yeah, that one shot, one kill right at the end was seemingly wasted. Oh, and they're going in for an engage.
Yeah, and now it looks like they're just going to try to get some damage down on this turret. BlueStacks does have an Afterburn to get out. Selena Gomez very, very low. Fountain just now coming out of Autumn Leaves. They're in a pretty decent spot if they can find the kills. They do find Selena Gomez. Afterburn comes out onto Irwin. Will they be able to find him as well? Spitfire comes through out of Scarf. Edwin, living just on a sliver of health, is going to make it out. Gold basically dead even, despite a 4-kill lead on the side of Autumn Leaves. And this Scarf, as he gets closer and closer to this Broken Myth, is going to be quite a threat, and has actually completed an Aegis of his own. Looking over at the builds on the Echo Fox side, looks like we might be having a Tornado Trigger come out of Selena, but this Kraken is now getting started up by Autumn Leaves.
Yeah, and looking at they're actually really close to completing that Kraken capture here for Autumn Leaves. I'm really surprised with the aggression coming out of these guys, but they have to do it, and Kraken's unleashed for the side of Autumn Leaves.
Scarf very good at taking the Krakens, though, able to get him into a spot where he's just sitting in that goop the whole time. They definitely took an opportunity there. They did find 2 kills, specifically onto the carries. So I think that was really the key Kraken take moment there, was that they got both of the carries down. If you're Echo Fox, what do we need to do here now with this Kraken marching down the lane? What do they need to find so that their base doesn't get trampled on by this beast?
Well, we actually need to have them maintain that gap. We need to have them maintain position away from Autumn Leaf, and at the same time take and chunk down the Kraken. But Selena Gomez and Irwin, they're so squishy.
We got a big fight coming out here. Slata in the front line looking to get a Versa Judgment down. Is not going to get the stuns he's looking for, but BlueStack's also very low. Selena is going to find that one over the wall. Kraken now very low. Irwin stuck in a goop. Will he take some damage here? He does. A Spitfire comes through. He is going to make it out safely, but I don't think Autumn Leaves can really push anything here, as this Kraken is going to drop any second. And Selena is looking to come out and be aggressive here, but he has to be careful. It is 2 members of Autumn Leaves alive, and he is very far away from his team.
Yeah, he could be potentially out of position here. He doesn't want to get caught out, but if he can do some serious damage, which he can with those glimmer shots, then he could do it. He just has to spot them out. Now, Slated has been putting down a lot of vision, and there we have a flare come out, actually, from Autumn Leaves. But the vision just got popped once they went for that Kraken capture. And there's another thing I wanted to touch on. With Selena Gomez and Irwin, they didn't have any shielding. Irwin didn't have any shielding at all until now. And he was just getting burnt alive by all those goops. And that's the problem with having a double squishy composition with Kestrel and Samuel.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think they do still have a lot of potential in this game particularly. Again, we've seen when BlueStacks does go a little too far, those glimmer shots can be really punishing. Especially with no armor built. So what do we need to see? It looks like he's going for the Poison Shiv. What do you think that final item coming out of BlueStacks will be?
It looks like he is going to be going for the Poison Shiv. There it is. He just picked it up. That's going to allow him to sustain better and give him a little bit more attack speed as well. We did get a nerf to Poison Shiv in the last update, but that's we know that Glaive is already tanky, so him getting in there and initiating these team fights, as long as he's able to get some auto attacks off, that's going to help him out.
Yeah, having that additional sustain is huge, but Kelbas is a little bit caught out here. Glimmer Shot does come through and finds about a quarter of his health. A Spitfire, though, from Edwin coming over the wall does find about a quarter of Selena's health in return, and now it looks like Autumn Leaves might be looking to get a pick off here with this Glaive. With one shot, one kill, does thread the needle and finds Edwin, though. Bright Bulwark going to create a disengage opportunity, and now Selena has to be very careful on the edge of that goop in Spitfire range. Spitfire does come out and brings Selena very low. Both teams still have Fountain available, as well as the Imperial Sigil coming out of Lyra is going to get them in a healthier position. Actually, a little bit of misuse of it there. It would have been more beneficial if he would have popped that sigil. He would have got more healing on his team rather than letting it burn out. So got to be careful on that. But BlueStacks comes in with a afterburn. Oblivion is burned out. It doesn't get through. BlueStacks does drop. Kelbas drops shortly thereafter. And now it is just Edwin running away here. He does find Slata. One shot, one kill. Just a little bit wide. And doesn't quite catch that portal either. Now Selena looking to finish this kill off over the wall. And he does. And just like that, we have an ace going on over to Fox. And with all this damage, they should be able to push a decent amount of these turrets down. They do have a double ace wave moving in here, and this is the siege we were talking about at the beginning of the game coming out of this Fox lineup. Kelbas and BlueStacks will be alive in just 10 seconds, though, so Fox, if they want to finish the game here, have to split this damage perfectly. BlueStacks and Kelbas are now up. Drifting Dark is down. BlueStacks coming in. Selena Gomez does pop that active camo. Oh, BlueStacks going in a little too far, though. Those glimmer shots again. Very little armor, and that is going to be Fox closing out the game. That is game number 1, 21 minutes in, and Echo Fox is going to clean that one up.
Beautifully executed in that last team fight, Denominate. I think the number one thing that Fox did right was they ended up taking out BlueStacks out of the equation, out of the fight right away. And because they did that, they were able to just clean up, melt the other two members, and push all the way to the Vein Crystal.
Definitely was an exciting game, but we'll be getting ready to bounce back on over to the desk with myself and Dragonborn to go over that game.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic game by Autumn Leaf, actually, surprising us. I mean, they're coming up in here against a high-seeded team in the tournament. Echo Fox, the #1 challenger team from the last split in challengers, and just almost losing this game. It was so close, but they found a way to come back in. The range, the poke from Echo Fox was just too much to handle. Autumn Leaf not able to get into position. There was a few misplays by Autumn Leaf as well in that game, and I think it's worth highlighting some of that because, you know, if they just landed a goop or two in the right direction through some of those fights, they probably would have had a better shot at actually winning that game, which is kind of crazy to be talking about when we started this off and looking at these rosters. Now, one thing worth noting as well is that it is a sub that has come in for game number 1, and I know that they were talking about getting a sub, getting their main starter, RN Prodigy, and I've seen this guy play. He definitely is really good, so this team could get a little bit better. I have to imagine, though, going into game number 2, you're going to see a little bit more respect from Echo Fox.
Yeah, and I think a couple of things that really didn't play out well there for Autumn Leaf, specifically looking at that last fight, was BlueStacks made an aggressive engage and came in, and actually the afterburn was burned onto Slata, the captain, which put him right in the middle of Glaive and Lyra, got that self-heal down, used that heal, or the Verse of Judgment, which actually kept Scarf a little too far back to find any damage onto the carries of Echo Fox. Selena and Irwin were on the opposite end of the fight from Scarf, so he wasn't quite able to find the damage he needed to on the carries. So if we are going to run the Glaive, we have to make sure that that afterburn gets used onto a more valuable target, trying to take Selena down or trying to get Irwin down. And realistically, those were the only fights that Autumn Leaf really lost, is if the afterburn was burned on Slata, Glaive got absolutely destroyed, and that's when Echo Fox really started to take those fights.
Yeah, it really was a huge difference. Early on, Glaive was such a difference maker in favor of Autumn Leaf, but he started to fall off in that game. You saw, of course, they never really translated those kills into a sizable gold lead either. So although the game was fairly close, it was a real shame because you expect that Glaive Scarf to scale better with all those kills, probably get some of those early objectives. Instead, it was actually Echo Fox getting those first 2 turret objectives, keeping the gold lead, even if not taking the lead there into the mid-late game. And that is, with the Scarf, you could manage that, but it was just harder. You're putting yourself in a position economy-wise that is just really difficult to get yourself out of when the game starts to flip on you, when it starts to turn on you like it did. It looks like we are just about ready to go here, so I think let me just do a quick check here to make sure they're ready to go.
It looks like we might have a team requesting a couple minutes to get their starter in. And that is going to be Autumn Leafs looking, I believe, to get in RN Prodigy. Just have to see if Fox is okay with this here, just to make sure. We might be able to get into the draft here in just a second.
Yeah, that definitely is going to be the goal. Idealistically, if we can get that to point. Start the draft. They are trying to get their starter RN Prodigy into this game as he's heading home right now. We'll have to see what the update comes out from that. I will say, again, very impressed with Autumn Leaf's performance in this game. And they came here really determined, and I really like the Scarf pick that they had. I think that offered them a lot of, variety, a lot of frontline and, backline power, and I think Glaive was really good in the front line with Lyra for a decent amount of that game. One of the challenges too was, they were starting to win some of those fights, but unfortunately kind of lost track. We saw actually several times they failed to block that Oblivion as well. That was really detrimental, putting the Scarf to sleep during a pivotal time, and that's something you really don't want to you need to be very cognitive of. The other thing too is one of the last fights denominated, we did see really what actually devastated Autumn Leaf was that Verse of Judgment that came out and just stunned up half the team. That really was what put the nail in the coffin for them to give Echo Fox that final push to help, finish off the game in their favor.
Yeah, and again, the raw siege damage that came out of that Samuel and Kestrel, especially that weapon Kestrel, they were able to push down the turrets. They did a great job splitting the damage, and it was just a little too much for BlueStacks to come in and try to stop by himself, and they were able to shatter that vein. And again, as you mentioned at the beginning, Selena Gomez was the HyperX player to watch that game, and I think he really performed well, specifically going into the late game there. And as we get into this draft, I do think if you are the side of Autumn Leaves, you do have to take into consideration that giving Selena Gomez that Kestrel is going to be a nightmare for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're kind of duped here with Vox or Kestrel. Now, we typically see supports banned, I was just going to say, but you could start off with that Kestrel ban and then take the Vox, and then you've already put yourself in a fantastic position here. Catherine's banned, but you've got Grace and Lyra still up. Now, you take one of those healers, and then you get through hoping that you get either Idris or Vox. I think this is a fantastic draft for Autumn Leaf. Really surprised by the Lance play here. Not picking up one of those healers seems...
Lyra and Grace available makes it seem incredibly risky. Even the Adagio, again, some minor changes this patch, and we've seen, obviously, Fox was able to pull that off last game. Definitely interesting that they did pick up the Lance here. Now, Lance is pretty good into Grace, so that does make it a little bit of a difficult situation. Again, Grace coming in for those stuns, does have to lock herself up to use that Holy Nova. It's very easy for Lance to Gythian wall her away from the team, so I do think you should have picked up the Grace there. I mean, it just made sense. Lyra's picked up. Very likely not going to be a Grace ban here, just since we already have the Lance locked in on the enemy team. It just doesn't really math to me to do so. It is going to be the Idris ban away here. Obviously, with the Kestrel off the table, we will likely see Selena trying to get on either a Vox or a Ringo is another hero that Selena is pretty proficient at. And I think the Vox is a little easier to play into the Lance, so you do have that additional movement out of the Sonic Zoom. Ringo, obviously, very susceptible to those impales coming out of Lance. So we'll either see a Vox pick up here or something flexible, like, well, I guess the Kestrel's off the table, so we could see a Glaive here. Can be run in either the lane or the jungle. Or again, we could just go with that clear Vox pickup.
Yeah, and Glaive definitely has been a priority pick for the last couple of drafts, but I think that your Selena Gomez, you can't risk not getting the Vox in this case. You know, your hero pool may not be as big as you'd like, or you feel like your win conditions are better with certain heroes, and of course, Vox being such a power pick anyways, giving it over to Autumn Leaf, it doesn't make sense either. Idris ban was smart for Echo, so now they have the Vox. Idris is off the table. Kestrel's off the table. You really do limit that lane power coming out of Autumn Leaf. I would argue that with the Lance, it's going to be a little tricky because you don't have the same kind of protection that you would have had from a healer if you wanted to go with the Baron necessarily. So they could see the lane Glaive denominate. And then
I think the lane Glaive does make a lot of sense here, specifically with the Lance. I do think if you commit to that lane Glaive just to increase the pressure that you can put on this Vox, you need to go something very aggressive in the jungle. The Samuel is off the table, but we still have picks like Celeste is available, can handle pretty well into Vox. The zoning potential out of the Heliogenesis can definitely make it difficult for Vox to make a good engage, especially the crowd control that would be available on that lineup. You know, the Glaive could go in, get an Afterburn down, Root could follow up, a Githian Wall could follow up, Core Collapse, but this is going to be a Baron locked in, and Baron's still strong. Definitely still a viable pick. Has received about a 10% damage nerf, though. That Heroic Perk Rocket Launcher only gets about 120% weapon ratio now, as opposed to the 130% that it used to be. So definitely some opportunity here. And actually, this is a Reza pickup, Dragon.
Wow, we have not seen Reza played at all in any competitive fashion going into today. Obviously, we've only had a few games to watch, but you know, it's the first time we've gotten to see it flexed. From a crystal carry potential, what's going to make that Reza so strong going into this game?
Well, Reza has a lot of burst potential, but what he also has is a lot of get snowballed in the jungle potential. So Crystal Blackfeather here in the jungle will get some barrier and should have a pretty easy time realistically into this Reza. However, if Reza is able to get a early lead, able to get into his build far enough, there's definitely a lot of potential there for that high amount of burst damage, especially once he hits level 6 and gets that Nether Form Detonator. He's able to apply that Fire Starter a lot easier and can get a lot of burst down. It's just, again, it's so easy right now to snowball Reza early that it's kind of a risky pickup. But then again, there's not a lot of people that are really looking or have gone into too much Reza. If BlueStacks here, who is going to be moving into the jungle very likely, does have some sort of secret Reza playstyle, we could see something interesting here, Dragon.
Well, I'm giving Autumn Leaf a lot of props. They've been very creative in the draft so far, and so as we get into this game, I'm definitely excited to see how they play. But we are jumping into it right now. I am going to be kicking it over to our casters, Austin, as well as the Dominator, to take it away.
All right, and getting into this game, we do have Edwin and BlueStacks looking to get some ambient gold here in this early game, wanting to get this Baron online as quick as possible. Selena Gomez and Slata, though, looking to come in and take some of that farm away. Will Kelbas be able to take it? It is not going to. It is going to get picked up by the Imperial Sigil from Slata. That ambient gold and experience will go into Selena Gomez's pocket now. And as Edwin comes into the lane, going to get some poke damage down on Selena. Selena not quite having that Book of Eulogies yet. Will very likely get it when he does rotate to shop, though. Edwin getting a lot of poke down. The root comes through as well, but the Imperial Sigil is here out of Slata. Going to keep Selena here, able to farm up this wave. And BlueStacks actually taking the opportunity to rotate back and pick up a little bit of extra crystal power. Looks like we may have lost Sean here for a second. So we got some pretty strong rotations here out of Fox in the lane. We did see Irwin come up. Crystal Blackfeather, not really the strongest suit for pushing the lane early. He definitely wants to get into that Shatterglass so he can really get some heavy poke damage down out of that on point. Crystal Blackfeather is pretty good at poking out that Baron. That slow movement speed really allows a easy on point to come out onto Baron. It can really make it very difficult for him. And obviously with the Rose offensive as well coming out of Blackfeather later, it's going to be difficult for Kelbas really to lock him down where Edwin and BlueStacks will be able to find some free damage onto him.
Denominator, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Welcome back, Mr. Sean. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, and it looks like so are our two teams here on the Halcyon Fold. It's really interesting to see a Reza being played here on VIS Pro tonight, and I'm anticipating seeing a pretty good build coming out of BlueStacks here. I really want to see maybe an Aftershock as a first item, and that looks like that may be what he's building towards.
It definitely might be, and I do think that the proc Reza does work pretty well. I've played it a couple times myself. That double proc Reza, even just that Tension Bow Aftershock can be very strong. It provides a lot of burst, especially when paired with that fire starter that Reza does bring to the table. Again, he has to complete one of those items before he can really start to be aggressive, though, and that's kind of the downfall of Reza, is if you do get snowballed, which we haven't seen yet, so that is a little bit of a silver lining here for the side of Autumn Leaves. If he is able to get that build online, he can do a lot of damage, especially since the Assassin Blackfeather, he just doesn't have a lot of health. Now, if he gets a good barrier off, he can provide some sustain, but just it's going to be interesting. This is going to be the first competitive Reza that we've been able to see so far.
Yeah, and it looks like Irwin's got himself... he's working towards perhaps a Shatterglass, which is really going to be good for the poke damage coming out of Blackfeather. So his barrier is definitely going to help him when he's going in on those engages.
Yeah, and it's going to be all about getting that barrier, specifically going into the Baron as well. We know Baron did receive some nerfs, about 10% of that bonus damage he had, but still a very scary threat in the late game. We do have Fox pushing some aggression here. Those resonance bounces as well as the hits coming out of Lyra are doing a lot, but BlueStacks, there's that aggressive engage we said that we needed out of Irwin. Once he gets a couple items, he needs to be able to push BlueStacks out as much as he can of his jungle, and does look like he's going to steal this away. BlueStacks now dropping very, very low. Slata looking for some more damage. Imperial Sigil does find First Blood onto Slata. 200 gold going into his pocket. We'll be able to rotate down and get Fountain now, and Kelbas rotating back and picking up a Fountain as well. So Fountain online now for both teams, 4.5 minutes into the game. What are we really looking at here, Sean? What is Riza's real win condition here in this game?
I feel like the win conditions for Riza, and it's the same thing with Baron, is that they just need to get their items. Like Riza is not the kind of hero who scales up really well, I feel, with his abilities. He needs to have a lot of items to come online so he can do that CP damage. You know, with his ability, his hero perk Firestarter, he actually does really good bonus damage, but he needs to have good CP, a good CP path to enable himself to do that.
Yeah, definitely needs to get up there in the build. Again, it does look like he might be going for that Aftershock first, just looking for that burst damage. And here Irwin is looking to make another aggressive rotation here. Will he clean up that farm? It does look like he got it. He did actually clean that up. There's that barrier. BlueStacks getting taken very, very low here. Selena Gomez maybe going a little too far himself. Does take some hits from that Crystal Sentry, chunking him down to about a third of his health. Slata is forced to use the Imperial Sigil to heal him up. Selena has actually opted to go with the Sorrow Blade first item here on this Vox, looking for raw damage out of the Vox as opposed to that bursty, sustainy Tension Bow, Poison Shiv build that we've seen in these past couple patches.
Yeah, and he's picked himself up a Blazing Salvo, so he's probably going to be working toward. He could be working towards a Poison Shiv, or he could be working towards a Breaking Point as well. But I feel like looking at Autumn Leaf here, we actually saw Edwin earlier during that team fight was just sitting up in lane, and then he ported back to base. Yeah, I feel like he needs to get on the same wavelength as his fellow teammates because they're getting invaded in the jungle, and they're not really able to push back against Echo Fox. There's just so much aggression coming out of them.
Yeah, and that's something, again, we talked about Selena being on this roster. Selena does have a very aggressive play style, and that's what we've seen really out of both of these games, on the Kestrel last game and now on the Vox here. BlueStacks comes in a little too far. A Impale does come through on Selena and drops him very, very low. Irwin, I keep mixing up Irwin and Edwin. Irwin finds some good good damage and some good poke on those on points, and actually we do have Kelbas very, very low as well. Selena not letting the aggression up, finds some damage onto BlueStacks, who is looking to get another Aftershock proc off if he can safely do so. And just like that, Fox now has this wave pushed up and is looking to find a little bit more damage here as they now rotate down. No jungle really for them to take except for one of these front camps, actually only half of it. Crucible now picked up from Slata, though. Gonna be able to help block out the root coming out of this Lance.
Yeah, and that's one of the win conditions I feel for Autumn Leaf is that they have to get Baron and Reza scaled to late game in order for them to be able to come online. And what Kelbas is going to be doing is just keeping a good distance between them and Fox with those Scythian walls and keeping those roots down so that Baron and Reza can do significant damage.
Yeah, and we do have the Tension Bow now complete on Edwin. So he has the Tension Bow and the Sorrow Blade. This is really where Baron starts to be a bit of a threat. He also is level 6, so he has that increased basic attack range. But we do have some armor already starting on Selena Gomez, as well as a Breaking Point now complete. On Point does find a hit onto Edwin, and Riza does find a bit of damage here onto Selena as well. Another On Point does hit Edwin, bringing him lower and lower with every hit. The Overdriven On Point having that increased range is absolutely huge. And now BlueStack's looking to find some damage. Scythian Wall comes through. BlueStack takes a lot of damage of his own in return. And the Ion Cannon is actually forced out now to try to help clear this wave so that Fox is not able to put too much damage down on this turret. And just like that, Irwin continuing that aggression on that back line. But now BlueStacks is here. Rose offensive used defensively to get out. And Fox is not done letting up on this aggression. Oh, the splash damage coming out of Baron is absolutely huge there, though. It drops Selena Gomez pretty low. He is going to be able to find this Treant, though, and heal himself up. Scout Trap gets a little additional damage down onto Irwin and Slata, but they should be able to make it out here pretty safely.
That was a really interesting fight, Denominate, because even though it was taking place under that Tier 1 turret of Autumn Leaf, and though the turret wasn't found, there was good damage on it, Fox was going pretty low. They were still able to rotate down and take away some of that jungle farm. And overall, it just ended up being a win for Fox.
Yeah, they got about half of that turret's health down, so that's definitely key. And now they're not letting that aggression up, finding even more damage down on it. Now down to about a quarter or a third of its health. And as Selena pushes this wave up, they might be looking to find another bit of damage down. But BlueStacks is now in the lane as well. All 6 members of this game in the lane. Edwin taking a lot of damage from those on points, though. Irwin very, very accurate with that ability. No minions here to help them push right now, though. Slata will be able to heal up the damage that is being taken, but they do have to be careful. If they go a little too far and get rooted underneath turret, it can be a huge danger, especially with Baron. Ion Cannon is coming out, is going to miss the mark. The Impale is blocked by that Crucible from Slata, and Irwin is going to find the Health Treant again, going to heal him up and have him ready for the next fight. And Edwin actually now looking to recall as well, trying to get that Monocle built out. This has been a pretty interesting game so far. Pretty passive out of both teams. Fox has made some very aggressive pushes, but not aggressive enough that they've found any kills. They've just really forced the enemy's line back.
I'm feeling a little bit of deja vu here, Denominate, because I feel like we just saw that same fight about 5 minutes ago where Fox just pushed up against a turret, got a little bit of damage on it, and then once both teams were going low, they took the smart route and rotated down into the jungle, stole away some more jungle camps from the team. It looks like there's an engage.
Yeah, and Selena takes a lot of damage from the Baron, and the Impale comes through and lands onto Selena. Slata dropped very low as well. Both teams still have Fountain on the board as well as Crucible available for Slata. The Imperial Sigil obviously going to be able to help Selena heal up here in the lane. This wave getting cleared out very quickly, and all three members of Fox maybe looking here to find this turret finally. On point does come through. Selena Gomez is found by Reza. Will he get the kill, though? Githian Wall comes out. BlueStacks does find the kill, but Irwin finds the kill in return. And now, just like that, Edwin is left alone. This turret just on a sliver of health. Fox is now going to look to push this wave in and clean up that turret and extend their gold lead. Already sitting at 3,000, though. Actually... rotating down, that might give Edwin a chance to stop the turret from being taken. One basic minion attack does clean it up. That is now a 3,500 gold lead approximately for the side of Fox.
You know, there's not enough damage denominate coming out of Edwin as this Baron. He is prioritizing a little bit of light shielding there. See, but the thing is that he needs to come online. He has a Tyrant's Monocle now. He's working towards a second Tyrant's Monocle, thankfully. So he's going to have a 4 damage item build. But I think he may even be able to opt for a 5th damage item with the amount of damage that is coming out of him.
Yeah, I actually think he might go into the Tornado trigger for that last item. Just allows him to get some bonus attacks down, as well as it has a high crit % chance on its own. So definitely have some options in this build. Githian Wall comes through on Slata, though, taking a lot of damage. Now Edwin forced out of the fight, taking a lot of damage in return. Irwin is here. The on point comes through 473 or 439 damage. He does find the kill. And just like that, Slata is now on the chase with Irwin. Another on point coming through on Kelbas as Selena Gomez makes an aggressive rotation down from the back. The Crystal Sentry is taken out in the middle of that fight. They do find Kelbas, and now BlueStacks is on the run. Here comes Irwin, though. Will he be able to find anything? Another Form Detonator is available. It goes over the wall, and I think that is just going to be a free turret now going on over to the side of Fox. Again, I don't think Reza is just a game-changing enough hero right now. Edwin comes in and is going to try to clean up this wave, but not quite before the turret drops. The Imperial Sigil does top off Selena Gomez. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen a gold mine attempt yet out of either of these Ts either.
No, this has been a pretty, even though we've seen 2 turrets go down, actually, it's been a pretty passive game, like right in the middle. A lot of fighting has been going on right in the lane. I did want to comment on Reza and how that was a really good disengage coming out of him, but it looks like there's another engage here.
Yeah, Ion Cannon does come out. It's not quite going to clip anybody, though. Selena Gomez, 4 items on this Vox, going to be looking really to blow somebody up quick on a fight. He has a lot of ramping up damage as well. Another Form Detonator comes out, lands on Irwin. Will they be able to find a kill on Selena? Good Jump Jets does get him out safely, but BlueStacks now dangerously low. Edwin should be able to die or find the kill, or Irwin should be able to find the kill, and now that is Kelbas. The names are so close. The names are so close.
Kelbas goes down.
Kelbas does make it over the wall, but is going to get dropped by that on point. Fox may look to clean up this Crystal Sentry here, but it does look like Selena now rotating over. This gold mine is finally going to get started up by one of these teams. Irwin pushing in this turret. Slata dropping dangerously low from this Crystal Sentry, though. Will he be able to take it down? As Irwin rotates back over, they should be able to clean it up pretty quickly here. Goldmine soloed out by Selena Gomez. This is a 9,000 gold lead sitting in the pockets of Echo Fox right now. They are looking very, very good this game. And, you know, with just another fight or 2, they should be able to clean out this game. Only 2 turrets remain for the side of Autumn Leaves.
At a 1 kill for Autumn Leaf versus 8 for Echo Fox, it's really a different game. It's like night and day between the previous game and this one here in Game 2. The death timers are still pretty low, so we see Autumn Leaf actually respawning pretty quickly here and during these engages, and they just need to push back a little bit harder. They need to get more damage from Baron onto the side of Echo Fox. And there's another engage.
Well, you're not going to find that damage if Baron dies in the first half second of a fight. BlueStacks now running. Another Form Detonator does come out, but it's not going to be enough. He is going to drop. That is a double kill going on over to Selena Gomez. And now Kelbas, full health on this Lance, is spotted out by that Scout Trap. But Fox doesn't care. They're just looking to start up this Kraken. And Selena is actually pushing the wave in. And now looking if there's any jungle farm available to him. There is not. Crystal Sentry is here. It is dropping very, very quickly to this 4-item Vox, though. Kelbas now here, though, has to be careful. No poison shift for Selena means that there is no healing. A root comes through. Will he get rooted up? The reflex block comes through. Ion Cannon not quite making it. Imperial Sigil going to top him off, though. The Kraken was taken by Irwin and Slata, though, and now with only 2 turrets remaining, this Kraken marching down the lane. Edwin not quite at that 4th item yet on this Baron either. Looks like he might just have enough gold here in a second for that. Actually, he pops an Infusion instead, sells out his defense. Might be looking to get a little more weapon power here. He does go into some attack speed, so again, working towards that Tornado Trigger. Some good splash damage here, though. Imperial Sigil is going to heal that up pretty mindlessly, though. Blue stacks on Reza trying to find some of these stacks of Breaking Point. Only 2, or Broken Myth, only 2 offensive items here out of this Reza. Infusion burning down too. On Point finds some clean damage. Fox is finding some clean damage on this turret as well. Only 1 turret remains. Kraken still half health. Selena looking to find Edwin here on the back line. Oh, big burst damage! He is able to find the kill. Actually, it is Irwin finding the kill. Another form detonator not going to quite land on the mark. Kelbas is going to make it out alive. Irwin also going to make it out here. And Selena and the Kraken are just hammering down on this Vayne. Game number 2 is going to go over to Fox. And they are going to pick up a clean 2-0 victory here. And we will be bouncing on over to the desk here shortly. But tell me, Sean, how different was that game? What did Autumn Leaves need to do here to find a victory with this first Reza pickup here in Vainglory Professional Series?
Well, you know what, Denominate, that they actually Fox just shook the Autumn Leaves out of the tree, and they were able to find the weak link in the chain, which was blue stacks. He did not build a 3rd damage item, which he should have at least, because Reza is just too squishy, and seeing him played here competitively now, we know that he can't survive going up against a composition like that. They denied him the late game. They denied the late game to Baron as well. Even though we saw good CS coming out of him, he wasn't able to get that 5th damage item built, rather, to be able to make much of an impact on the game.
Yeah, and with that, we will be bouncing on over the desk with myself and Dragon to touch up a little bit more on that game as we get ready for our series number 2, which will be against with Gangstars and Team FV. So a little bit less known team there.
A little bit less known. You know, we have seen surprises. Autumn Leaf almost gave us one earlier in the first game of that series, but no surprise, Echo Fox really turned it around. I will say that is a huge lesson for why, when there are healers on the board, at least in this current meta, you guys don't give up the healer. You had a chance to take Grace. Autumn Leaf blew it, I think, with the Lance pick, and you just saw it actually in the early game. There was actually times where Autumn Leaf looked like they might win the fight, but then a Sigil came out, healed up the side of Echo Fox, and there was just no heal to keep that Baron alive. Baron ended up getting shut down more quickly as the game went on, and that's a real problem. When you get to those mid-game fights, you need that Grace to be able to keep that sustain going. She offers so much sustain, and into the late game even more so, and you could just, the Baron just absolutely crumbled underneath that pressure with no sustain, and a little bit of mistimed abilities too. We saw a few Ion Cannons where the Lance Impale was a little bit, late to the party, would have maybe helped lock them up a little bit better there, but no point, dwelling on it. Just worth noting, that's a big thing in the meta right now, guys, is that healer. When you see a Lyra go on one side of the team, you got to try to compensate with a healer on your side as well.
Yeah, and I actually think that might be the first time I've ever seen Grace actually make it all the way through a draft. Not banned,
I agree.
Not picked.
It did make sense.
It's just absolutely crazy there. Fox with a huge performance in game number 2.
She's still a really
dominating performance.
She's still a really strong pick, and I think that with the Baron specifically, and those mid to late game fights when you've got that that heal coming online and that some of that damage reduction, you give that Baron a little bit better chance to survive some of those fights. We are going to take a quick break, everybody. When we come back, we'll be getting ready for our second series. You guys are not going to miss it. It is Gangstars coming up, and they have a new carry that they might be showing off today. We'll have to see if Iraqi's playing or if it will be Lulu stepping in for his first time donning the Gangstars jersey. All coming up after the break.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
Welcome back, everybody. A little bit longer break than we anticipated, but we are back here getting ready for our second series of the night. And boy, I think this is one's going to be really exciting. A lot of implications here as we start to see Gangstars with a new addition to their roster that doesn't happen all that often. They are an org that tries to stay as consistent as possible from season to season, but they have brought in somebody who we've seen before in competitive play, and it could be just what they need to, you know, keep their VG8 spot next season. We're going to see this grow, and maybe this roster is something to keep an eye on. It is going to be Gangstars going up with Xenotech and Lulu joining in place of Iraqi in the lane. Now, Iraqi, from my knowledge, still part of the team, pretty common like day-to-day stuff, but is more like taking a backstage role now as they look to try to, you know, bolster this roster. And I'm really excited to see this roster debut here on the VIS stage, Denominate.
Yeah, it'll definitely be exciting to have Lulu back in the competitive scene for North America. Going to be interesting to see if this is a permanent change or if this is just something for a little bit of the off season, since Gangstars did get knocked out of the top 6 for the VG8. So, you know, it's going to be fun to see how this goes forward. Lulu, very high skill player. Definitely capable with some practice, getting back in the rotation here. Could fill the shoes of Iraqi, maybe not fully. Iraqi always been such a highly competitive player. But, you know, this is a fairly good substitute that I'm excited to see go forward here. We do have some past history with Xenotech as well.
Yeah, that's worth mentioning.
That's really going to be a little bit of a game changer here. This isn't a sub that's just coming out of nowhere, has no experience playing with these players. These are all guys that have played together in the past to at least some extent. So they kind of know, you know, a little bit about each other and the rotations and how they want to play. So again, this Gangstars lineup, it's going to be difficult to take down for the lesser-known team FV here with Silva, Ames, and I'm actually waiting to see who the last player will be here.
Yeah, Lulu's definitely going to be our X factor here, mostly because there's a lot of question marks into this factor of how he's going to be able to play. We know he's a top-tier player. We know he's top skill. Coming from the Chinese server, being a top player there. Now, I don't know if he's played competitively since he was on Phoenix Reborn way back in summer of last year, but I do know that this guy has a lot of potential, and I think the fact that Xenotech's played with him before means a lot. Of course, Mac Daddy is still the support. We'll have to see as he grows his skill set as well, you know, coming into the roster pretty late. This is someone that they really want to invest in. They really feel Mac Daddy has a huge amount of potential as well, but we'll have to keep an eye. You're right. Now, let's take a look back at the matchup and these two rosters. Arguably, probably the team we know the least about going into the day with a roster that's probably the newest. It is going to be Team FV. I really do not know these guys very well at all, and so this is really a huge question mark for us to see if, in fact, they're going to be able to give Gangstars any issues whatsoever.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough shell to crack. Again, Xenotech, a top tier jungler, very, very scary to go up against. A large hero pool as well. And really focuses on those really aggressive picks, those real game-changing heroes. Koshk able to snowball early. We've seen some really good Grumpjaw performances out of him. We've seen some really good Glaive performances and some Samuel performances out of him too. So definitely hard to ban Xenotech out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, it's going to be challenging. This guy's got a pretty big hero pool, and I think really the focus is going to be just putting, you know, if you're FV, putting yourself on comfort picks, right? Like, don't worry about Gangstars. You're really not going to be able to take away the obvious picks. I expect the Catherine Grace combos to be, and Lyra, those first 3 supports to be really contested early. We'll see how that plays out. We may see something unique, you know. We saw Autumn Leaf do something a little unconventional. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. But, you know, VF or FV, I mean, might try something similar as well.
They very well could, and I do think there's a lot of opportunity, especially with the way draft is right now. It can be very strong on both sides. They definitely have their advantages and disadvantages. You get a lot of power pick opportunity in that first pick on A side. You get a lot of flexibility and counter pick on the B side. So definitely going to be interesting to see how they draft. I'm not sure how familiar this team is with the double ban draft scenario. Looking on over to the side of FV, it's just going to be kind of hard to tell what they really play. I I do think Mieti is a jungler, though, if I remember correctly. I've played with a couple of these guys in ranked before. I don't know enough really about them to go off of too much.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how it plays out, and I'm actually kind of excited actually to get into this game just to see what we've got, because Gangstars is putting some pieces together. They may have some exposed risk to these games. They have to be a little careful, and if Team FV has that potential, they could definitely at least put on a strong performance, depending on really how prepared Gangsters is for this debut of Lulu. A lot happening here. I think a lot of just kind of testing by Gangstars as they get ready for autumn season, which is really going to have a lot of implications for them as an org.
Definitely will, and again, I'm really excited to see if this is their roster going forward into the next season. They obviously still have their VG8 spot locked down, Lulu hasn't been in NA for a while. It's going to be kind of hard to really tell what he's been playing. We can hop over onto VayneGG, or VG Pro, but again, this is a double ban scenario. What the heroes that you play and that are going to be available to you are going to be different than just your ranked lineups.
Right.
So again, top tier player over there is Vainglory, has past experience with Xenotech as well. And I think that's really going to be what we need to rely on here, is hopefully Xenotech and Lulu have retained some of that synergy that they once had.
Yeah, that's going to be the key storyline here, and interesting to see how that all works out. We are still waiting for the side of Team FV to get into the draft. They are running into some technical difficulties in order to get into the draft client. We did actually have draft client issues early across the board. It is up and running, so we just got to make sure we're a little bit patient with FV as they try to get this worked out. And still waiting on a response to see where we're at. Worth noting, guys, you are watching the VIS Pro. We do, of course, have 2 weeks of competitive play. We'll be going all the way through Friday and then starting again Tuesday through Friday next week at 6 p.m. So make sure you guys hit the follow live on Mob Crush. This is going to be an action-packed season as we wind down to the top team starting next week. That's where all the fun's going to begin, so you really want to make sure you tune in. The competition's going to get very fierce as we roll down the line, so don't want to miss any of the actions. Make sure you guys hit the follow, and follow us on Twitter at VIS League for all of the updates. Looks like we need a few more minutes, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, hopefully we'll get this sorted out, and we'll be into game number 1 of the second series of the night.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting into the draft. We figured we'd jump right into it after much delay, so it looks like we are good to go. Of course, we're going to be monitoring for any potential issues or hiccups as we want to make sure the system is running just fine. So if you see a reset here, don't worry. We are just monitoring the situation, but looking like as we get into it, Gangstars. Now, that is an interesting ban, if I must say so. A Kestrel banned first. Tell me, Dave, I was not expecting that at all.
I wasn't expecting that at all either. I definitely think this could be targeted, though, if we, again, these are lesser known players on the side of Team FV. So maybe this is something that, Mac Daddy or Xenotech or Lulu have run into in their public queue adventures and are like, okay, we don't want such and such to get this Kestrel. That's, their best hero. We think if we take them out of their comfort, we have a better chance of, getting an easy victory here. So it's really kind of just depending on what Gangstars knows, really. I mean, Kestrel definitely not really a priority ban in most cases, but again, if you know that's someone's comfort and taking them out of their comfort is your clear way to win, then by all means do it.
Yeah, we do have a technical difficulty as we look to get into this game. It looks like we're not able to connect to the draft client, so we're just going to do a quick reset here and hopefully get back into this. Alright, yeah, it looks like might be a miscommunication. So we are going to get restarted here in just a second. It looks like, yeah, here we get connected. Sorry about that, everybody, but we are back, and we'll get into this. Gangstar's going to, obviously has the Kestrel ban. Looking to see what comes out of Team F. And they are going to go with Catherine. Not surprising we see Catherine very contested here in 2.6 to 2.7 update. Easy.
Grace picked up very quick by Gangstars. That's going to give the Lyra on over if they so choose to pick. So I think you kind of have to. You can't give up the Grace and then not take Lyra. So that's really just the smartest pick by FV here. If it does not get picked up, Gangstars will likely ban it away just for... Oh, man. The Glaive gets picked up. I'm not sure I'm in love with this. I do love Glaive, but I don't like the pick here. Kroll gets banned away from Xenotech, and like I said, it'll very likely be a Lyra banned out now for the side of Gangstars, just to make sure that FV doesn't get that sustainable lane presence. Burning a lot of time on deciding what they want to ban away here, though.
Yeah, they really are, and interestingly, I think Gangstars maybe wants to play this safe. They don't want to take any risks. Obviously, you've got maybe some language barrier that you've got to work through, so you want to take the time. They got plenty of time still, and I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if they just want to make the right ban choice here and talk about it with the team before they just jump the gun. They are winding down. This is a lot of time here. You still have 2 more picks. Vox is the ban. I think that's a good ban. I think Vox is really powerful, but you do have Team FV does have the potential to get the Idris here, which in the lane could be really potent.
It definitely could, and with the Glaive pickup, which is a strong pick into Idris, there's definitely a lot of opportunity where Idris could take off here. That Lyra did make it through to this point, though, so that is something we still have to consider. That Captain is available, but Gangstars has their 2 carry picks still ready to go. Glaive's already on the table. Glaive does provide some flexibility, can be played in any of the positions, really. It is the Idris that gets picked up. It's going to be interesting to see if this is a double weapon composition or if they do go with that Crystal Idris. Idris did get some, I guess you could say, buffs this patch. They did lower some of the damage on the weapon route, but they also did lower the amount of crystal or weapon power required for that divergent path. So that gives a little bit earlier Crystal Idris is able to come on and safely farm in the lane. So definitely some potential for this Idris to go Crystal. It's going to kind of depend on what Gangstars picks, though, what they feel more comfortable running the Idris as. It is a Black Feather, which I feel just off of the hero pool. I think this is going to be a Crystal Black Feather for Xenotech in the jungle, and we could see something like a Ringo come out of Lulu here would be a pretty decent pick into the Idris.
But it's a great flex pick, too, you know?
It is a good flex pick. It is actually going to be a Samuel coming out, so it will be Lulu in the lane with the Black Feather. I do think Ringo has his perks into Idris. He provides a lot of single target burst damage. Idris very good at taking out the squishy backline, but if Ringo blows Idris up before he can do anything, then that's really kind of the best way to win that trade. And now it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the last pick on the side of FV here. They could flex the Glaive into the captain position if they want, or they can pick up a captain here in exchange.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Samuel pick here with the Idris and Glaive. I think mechanically Gangstars has the potential to be very superior in these fights and still win it out. But I think you take a lot of risk when you're kind of exposed like that.
I do. The Samuel has its power spikes here. So obviously it's going to be a triple melee, at least for the early game. So that's a lot of susceptible splash damage that Xenotech on the Samuel can get down, especially if Idris does decide to go into the weapon route, since obviously if they do go double weapon, they're both going to want to try to focus the same target, burst them down, get somebody out of the fight quick. That's going to put them in that range where those empowered Malice and Verdicts can really ramp up quickly, especially once that Broken Myth is complete. But it is a Lance last pick here. So, again, Lance, also a melee hero. There's a lot of ability here for Samuel to get some free splash damage down. And then Black Feather, obviously, able to duel out a lot of other heroes. A lot of sustain coming out of Black Feather. A lot of scaling damage with that execute attack from that Faint of Heart. So it's just going to be interesting to see how Lulu's performance here, debut performance on Gangstars, will be able to match up against FV. Again, I think there is a sizable skill advantage for the side of Gangstars here, but you know, there's lesser known about this FV roster, and we definitely see some targeted bans coming out of Gangstars here.
Yeah, no, Gangstars, interesting draft. I'm really excited to see what they play, how they play into this one. We're getting into the game, though, so I'm going to kick it over to our casters, Sean Estino, and, of course, the Dominate to get us into the action.
All right, Sean. Well, as we kick off this game, we do see Silva picking up that Book of Eulogies. No surprise there. Melee Hero gets a lot of sustain out of that item in the lane. Mac Daddy looking to come over and maybe get some aggressive push here, but Glaive has started with 2 weapon blades, so maybe looking to go with that tension bow first item. Boots on Mac Daddy is going to allow him to get into the back. Will he be able to steal this, though? Afterburn does secure it, but now that long cooldown in the early game is burned. Root does come through on Mac Daddy. He's getting a lot of splash damage down onto Glaive and Lance. Lance is actually below half now, below a quarter. Will Mac Daddy be able to find a kill here? A lot of speed out of this Grace. He does! Oh, and did he steal the farm too? Oh, he didn't. It does go over to Team FV. Yep, and a great first blood there out of Mac Daddy. Good performance so far, starting with the weapon blade on this Grace.
Grace just too OP, but it looks like she's caught out of position still.
Is she, though? Is she? And Xenotech comes in, cleans up the kill onto the Glaive, and now aims very, very low. Gangstars does clean up that kill there, and now they're going to take away the farm out of the jungle of FV. This is looking like a really good start for Gangstars right now. Up 3-0, 1.5k gold lead in just 2 minutes. This is looking absolutely great for Gangstars.
Yeah, and that's what's to be expected. Gangstars is a Vainglory A team. Sure, they just they just fell a little bit shy of making the live championships, but we know this team. We know a lot of the members on the team and what kind of aggression we expect out of them. And of course, we see that Grace is on Mac Daddy B on this. Grace is already meeting some of the win conditions. Grace doing those early jungle invades. It's what's needed for Gangstars to continue to succeed in this game.
Yeah, definitely a good start for them. Definitely Mac Daddy using Grace's movement speed the way he needs to get through this game safely. Minions underneath the turret here will allow Lou to clean up this wave pretty quickly. And actually, Silva and Ames both recall, and it is going to be a Crystal Idris. I'm actually surprised here that he ended up buying the boots and the armor. He could have gone with more crystal power just to get those ranged attacks out early. With 2 crystal bits, he should have had just about enough.
Yeah, usually with a crystal Idris, you go double crystal bit in the early game. And so I do think it may have been a little bit of a bad prioritization for his gold there. But I wanted to actually talk about that Kestrel ban. And I think the reason why Gangstars banned it was because we actually have a 56% win rate on Kestrel for Silva. And they probably wanted to take away a comfort pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably more about how many times he's played Kestrel than anything. Lulu is dropping very, very low here from a heavy engage out of FV. When I look at a 53% win rate, that's not really a game-changing hero to be, but it is Mac Daddy coming in, being a game-changer for Gangstars here, cleaning up a 3rd kill for himself onto Ames, the captain of FV. And Mac Daddy is almost sitting in enough gold now to get that fountain available to him. And Ames is quite a bit behind on farm right now.
Yeah, we see Meaty as well working on his... Oh, there's an engage coming out.
Yep. And Meaty goes it a little too far. That afterburn puts him in a very dangerous position. Ames does get a double Githian wall down there. But that is a 5-0 lead now for Gangstars, sitting around 2,000 gold lead. Huge start for them. Again, Mac Daddy, fairly new to this roster, has had some time playing with Xenotech and Iraqi, making a pretty good performance for himself here in the VIS Professional Series as well. Surprised he actually didn't pick up the fountain. He has the gold in his pocket to do so. So that's going to give Ames a little bit of time now to catch up and potentially have a fountain about the same time. He's still going to be behind, but if those fountains are online at the same time, then it's going to be about even footing. About 2,000 gold lead now for Gangstars. What does Team FV need to do here to start picking up some kills as the tension bow comes out for Glaive?
Well, I feel like Lance needs to actually Githian wall that Grace a lot, and he's already been doing that. And that's one of the win conditions, I feel. Maybe Githian wall her while she's doing some of her benedictions to keep her away, to keep her at arm's length. Githian wall her when she's trying to throw down some Holy Novas or Divine Interventions. But Mac Daddy B is just helping himself to keeping at the front line and keeping FV where Gangstars want them to be.
Yeah, and now as we got a fight breaking out, Xenotech being very aggressive with this Drifting Dark actually doesn't get a lot of use out of it, trying to find some damage on Silva. They don't get a whole lot of damage down on the turret either, but they are going to force Silva to lose a couple of those minions underneath that wave. He's about tied with Lulu right now, but we have a pretty sizable lead in the jungle. 12 CS up for Xenotech. Already level 6. Oblivion is available, and he's looking to steal away a little bit more farm here. Unless if Ames can do something about it, it does not quite happen, though. Xenotech does secure that. He is rooted up now, and here comes the Glaive looking for that afterburn. Oh, he turns away. Oh, man. Mac Daddy B rotating down behind them. A good call out from Silva, very likely with those the vision coming out of the minions in the lane there. Saw Lulu and Mac Daddy rotating down, so... some good communication there out of FV. Still a 2,000 gold lead for Gangstars, really pushing that advantage, but the Shatterglass is now complete for Silva. The Divergent Path is available, and those Chakrams are really going to start to hurt these Gangstars.
Yeah, it's really interesting that he went the Shatterglass route as opposed to first prioritizing that Frostburn. Then he could have gotten it a little bit earlier in the game and had an earlier power spike, but we have an engage.
Yes, we do. Mac Daddy taking a lot of damage, but he is going to make it out as the Afterburn does miss. Lulu diving onto the back line does find Silva. Not quite enough damage to find Glaive. And now Ames is running for his life. Scout Trap spouts him out. And now running away from Grace. A very difficult feat unless if Lance can make a good over-the-wall impale as that combat roll is not available. Mac Daddy just chasing him down. The stun comes out. First turret going on over to Gangstars. Almost 4,000 gold in their favor. Crystal Sentry coming over, trying to put a little bit of hurt onto Gangstars. And that is just going to be Gangstars stealing away some more farm here. The Chakram not quite able to finish it up. Man, we really got to see some good Afterburns and some good Githian walls here, Sean.
Oh, yes, we did. And that is exactly what Team FE needs to do to meet their win conditions. They need to hit their Afterburns with Glaive. They got to hit those Githian walls. We saw a couple of good ones coming out of Ames there to keep Grace away, give some time for that Crystal Sentry to come in and enjoy fighting with Grace and taking her health down.
Yeah, and we have 6 kills now up on the board for Gangstars. Mac Daddy doing a good job holding this wave as Lulu and Xenotech split a little bit of the ambient gold down in the jungle, really trying to push that gold advantage as soon as they can. Lulu now rotating up, cleaning up that farm. And now with this wave, Samuel here in the lane, they have an opportunity to push and try to find another kill here. That first turret obviously down. They're not going to look for any siege on that. But as this gold mine gets filled up too, Gangstars might turn their focus on that as they do have some vision on the enemy team. They are going to take the safe route. All 3 members are up. Another farm gets stolen away by Xenotech there. The monster in the jungle, that is the Samuel. And Gangstars doing a great job pushing their aggression early.
They sure are, and Mac Daddy B is already sitting on enough gold to grab himself an Echo once he goes back to the shop again. They're working on the gold miner here, and that's just going to be more gold in their pocket being denied to Team FV. And Gangsters is just going to continue to aggress here and deny farm and gold and experience away from Team FV as this game continues. 9 minutes in, and it's 6-0. It's pretty much as expected coming out of Gangstars.
Yeah, again, Gangstars is a Vainglory 8 team, picking up some new talent here. Iraqi is still a sub, and I believe a little bit taking the player coach kind of role here, getting Lulu back on this roster, who already has a Breaking Point and a Serpent's Mask complete, so a lot of sustain, a lot of defense on this Black Father already, as well as obviously the ramping up damage of that Breaking Point and Infusion will be absolutely huge. And they're actually looking to steal away some more farm here. I'm not quite sure who got that one. It is Silva, it looks like. So a little bit of a silver lining there for FV that they didn't lose out on more farm. But now Lance coming in with a good impale. Combat roll out of the Oblivion. Crystal Sentry is going to drop, and Gangstars is not going to let up on the aggression. Here comes Lulu looking to find some damage onto Ames. Will he get it? The execute is not quite available.
It's there.
He does get it as it comes out, and that is now a 7th kill going out over to Gangstars. And now with this massive wave, they can look to push this turret in. The glaive is very, very low here. Xenotech about half energy. Going to have to find some corrupted genius attacks here to get that energy built back up. And they do find a couple good Malice and Verdicts. Silva now very low as well. Has sold that Book of Eulogies, so he's not going to have any sustain for himself here in the lane. And now Gangstar is just rotating back through, looking at an opportunity to shop. 1,600 gold sitting in Lulu's pocket. Does complete the Aegis now, and will likely go into, I would think, and I'll get your opinion on this too, Sean, but I think Tyrant's Monocle might be next here out of Lulu, or maybe even a Bonesaw.
Yeah, I think a Tyrant's Monocle would be good, but it looks like we have another
very quickly. Oh, man, Lance not quite far enough in his build to be tanky enough to take on all 3 members of Gangstars. Xenotech here on this Samuel, looking to get some poke damage down onto Silva. But now as the Crystal Sentry rotates down, they're just going to take the farm and get out. So what do we need to see built here next out of this Lance and Glaive to really change these fights around? Silva's not doing too bad on farm right now, sitting at just under 10 CS a minute.
Well, Lance, there goes the Crystal Sentry defeated, 1 life remaining. Ames needs to prioritize Aegis. He's just getting bursted down too much by Xenotech. And even when he's disengaging from the fight, those empowered Malice and Verdicts are still finding him. They're just annihilating, chunking his health down, and that's why we saw him fall so many times in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, definitely need to get some tankiness here on this Lance if he wants to provide any kind of front line for his team. Once he goes in with that Impale, he's a sitting duck for a couple seconds, and Xenotech actually finding a couple of Malice and Verdicts there onto Silva brings him down about a third of his health. And again, no Book of Eulogies to help him sustain. Xenotech drops the Drifting Dark, finding some damage down on the turret and onto the enemy team. And now Lulu, way deep in this fight, Divine Intervention comes out, brings him back up, double Divine Intervention comes through, Silva now dropping, the stun comes through on Glaive, Mac Daddy B, good Holy Nova, and now Lance is here, very, very low health. Will they be able to find the kill? Lulu's going very deep for it. They do find the ace, 11-0, Gangstars. There's going to be another turret, and very likely this last life of the Crystal Sentry going to drop here as Gangstars really, really pushing heavily. 8,000 gold advantage here at just 12.5 minutes. Crystal Sentry taken entirely off the map. Xenotech, Frostburn, and the Broken Myth are now complete, as well as nearly enough gold in his pocket to complete the Eve of Harvest. Lulu does have the Pierce now built into his build. It's going to be interesting to see if he does go with a Tension Bow for that burst, or if he goes with the Bone Saw to really ramp up that damage quickly against a single target with that breaking point available to him. Gangstar is looking absolutely beautiful here.
Yes, they are, and they have vision in the jungle of Team FVs as well. It looks like Ames is prioritizing Crucible to be his next item, and I think that's probably the wise move, especially since he just went to sleep for about 2.5 seconds in the last battle. That is probably what turned the team fight around. We have another team fight breaking out.
Yes, we do. Mac Daddy taking a lot of damage, but Gangstar is really pushing in this fight. Divine Intervention is available. It does come through onto Xenotech, as Xenotech finds a kill onto Silva. Glaive now on Xeno, but the Fountain and the Divine Intervention come through, are going to keep him alive. That is now Glaive dropping, and it does look like Ames is going to make it out now, not giving up an ace, but that is going to be very likely another turret going over to Gangstars, as well as they could make a rotation down and clean up the gold mine, which is full, 14 minutes. There's not going to be really another opportunity here as the Kraken is coming on the board. And as I said, that turret is now dropping. Will they pick a fight here now that that choke point turret is down, though? It does look like they are just going to take the safe route, rotate through, extend their gold lead. No Crystal Sentry here. Afterburn already burned out a Glaive as well. They could look to turn. And that is Mac Daddy going in. Lulu now going in onto Glaive, finding a lot of damage. Samuel getting a lot of splash damage down here. That is now Silva very low on health. Will he get out? He is not. Lulu on the back line. Oh, the Chakram comes through. It does find Lulu, and now Xenotech going to look to clean up Ames here. He does make it over the wall, though. No Crystal Sentry to help save his life. Will he make it out? 10 seconds until Glaive is back on the fold. He is creating a lot of distance for himself from Xenotech. But Mac Daddy is on the chase. That is an ace going over to Gangstars. There is not enough time. He burned out enough time that Gangstars does not have the means to take a gold mine. And now Kraken is on the fold. Gangstars 10,000 gold lead here for them right now.
You see, the thing with Crystal Idris is you can't fight close. You've got to be able to poke from range, land your skill shots, which are your chakrams. And that's something we're not seeing here for Silva. That is one of their win conditions. Sure, they've got 3 turrets down, but if Silva can just poke from distance and continue to get the damage, just like he did in that last team fight, taking down Lulu, we might be able to see a turnaround here. But it's a small chance, but it's still a chance.
They definitely have a chance. They, again, this Crystal Idris can be very powerful. 3 items now complete: Shattered Glass, Alternating Current, Broken Myth, with the infusion ready to go in his pocket. But Gangstars is starting up this Kraken, and I don't even think they're really looking to take the Kraken as much as they're looking just to find a fight. If they find an ace, they can just push in and end this game. But if they get a free Kraken, there's the engage I was talking about. War Treads burned, Silva dropping very, very low, taken out very quickly in that fight. Ames is now very likely going to drop as well, but Lulu is looking to chase down Glaive. If he has a reflex block, he does not, so he's not going to be able to chase. But Xenotech now looking to find Ames. The Oblivion did get blocked, but now will Xenotech find the damage here on Ames? He won't. They're just going to rotate down. Now with Silva down, they are going to be able to safely take this Kraken. And even if there is a miraculous steal out of the side of Team FV, it'll be a very dangerous one, as giving any kills up now could result in Gangstars just pushing for the win. And Ames is looking to come down here and contest. He is going to give Xenotech some broken myth stacks. This is a dangerous situation for FV to be in, but here comes Glaive. Will he get the steal? The steal does come through from Lance. The steal comes through, but Lance now dropping, or Glaive dropping. Lance going to drop very shortly after. Again, this is an opportunity where Gangstars could just go for a push to win. Silva does have a lot of damage, but does not have a lot of defense. So with Gangstars, actually they do turn their attention onto the Kraken here. It will likely get one turret, but that should be it, as obviously the percentage of health loss from that turret dropping will chunk the Kraken down with Gangstars. I'm kind of surprised they didn't just really push heavily. They had a sizable wave there. They had 3 full health minions. They could have likely taken the game there, but they do want to play it safe. They don't want to give up any kills they don't have to. 11,000 gold lead. A little sliver of hope there found for Team FV, Sean.
A little bit of a sliver of hope to nominate, but at the same time, overall, it was a net loss for Team FV. Even though they stole the Kraken, they only got 1 turret out of that. So whereas Gangstars ends up taking the Kraken down, that's 1,500 gold in their pockets now, net worth. So they're just going to have to continue to push here, and eventually Team FV is going to make some more mistakes, and it's going to result in a GS win pretty soon.
Yeah, it's definitely looking to be that way, especially as this fight breaks out. Silva's dropped very low, and actually the execute comes through out of Lulu. He does get the sleep on Ames as well. Ames is going to drop now, and it is just Glaive left to fend for himself with the aggression from the Gangstars roster sitting here. 21-1. Gangstars may be looking to get a wave here, but it is tied up by this one last minion for Team FV. So they are now going to rotate down. A lot of gold in the pocket of Mac Daddy. He could look to go get a reinfusion popped, but they might just be looking to sit here in the FV jungle and pick one more fight. Glaive playing it very, very safe, sitting back here in his base. Divine Intervention available for Grace, though. I just, with the way the builds are, Glaive only sitting on 2 items, I'm just not sure there's enough damage from FV that they can compete with the sustain that Grace allows.
No, they can't denominate. And this is a really interesting situation that Gangstars has right there. They're just waiting in that bush. Oh, but they actually get spotted out. It doesn't matter, though, because here's the engage.
Yep, and now we're going in very, very deep. Mac Daddy does take a lot of damage, but it is Ames going to be dropping first. And now Silva using that Shimmer Strike actually in the wrong direction, taking a lot of damage from Xenotech here. They are now looking to chase. Kraken should be back on the board here in just a couple seconds. And that is going to be a second kill now cleaned up for Gangstars. They'll likely force this wave so that Glaive is forced to deal with it in the base. And he does afterburn over the wall. The death timers, Ames will be up in 15 seconds. Silva not up for 30, though. That wave is forced, and now Gangstars looking to turn their attention through the jungle down to that Kraken. One more Kraken should spell the end of this game, as well as they want to pick up some additional infusions here as they make it down to the jungle shop. Kraken is starting up for Gangstars, though. What do we need to see here out of the side of FV? What needs to happen for them to win this game? Or at least win the next fight?
Well, Team FV needs to, if they can get another hero play with them all there, that would be amazing. But at the same time, they just need to pull it together and play to their win conditions. We see here that Gangstars is just baiting them.
And Gangstars does secure this Kraken. It's not going to be another miraculous steal. Glaive is very, very low. The execute comes through, and now with one kill down, Gangstars looking to close this game out. They should be able to find Silva pretty easily here. The stun comes through, and that should be a Gangstars victory, especially as Ames is going to give up the ace here. That is the final fight of this game. 21 minutes, 13,000 gold, 25 kills in the lead for Gangstars, 26-1, taking this first game against Team FV. I don't think anybody's really shocked here, Sean, but looking into game number 2, what does FV need to do here that they can have at least some better chances going into this very aggressive Gangstars lineup?
Well, I feel like they just need to be really wary of Xenotech because he was doing a lot of work. If you look at that, 14 kills to 14 kills to his name there, and there was some tension. The tension bow proc ended up, we saw 978 damage coming out of Lulu when he was going in on those dives with his Faint of Heart. It's something that they need to be really aware of. Silva, if he's going to choose Idris again, he needs to be able to poke from range like a mage. He can't go in and get in the middle of these fights and keep feeding. Ames, we're going to see what he has to do. He tried to prioritize really well, getting that Crucible out to block those Oblivions, but it just wasn't enough. And we're going to see what happens in game 2, I guess.
All right, and we'll be bouncing on over to the desk with myself and Dragonborn, as always, to break that game down a little bit further and prepare us for game number 2 as we get into the draft here very shortly. So, Dragon, what do you think about that game?
Boy, well, no doubt about it, Gangstars was very prepared for this matchup. We talked about the Kestrel ban early, clearly identified pick to try to take someone off their comfort zone. You know, there's a lot of players that, you know, on Kestrel, they seem to excel beyond their playstyle across any other hero, so that's what the Gangstars respected and expected, possibly, even though they were on A side, a first pick Kestrel from the side of Team FV. As we go into game number 2, we're going to see teams switched. I actually expect Gangstars to probably use the Kestrel ban again, or they'll probably allow Team FV to take it. We'll see as we get ready for this, but really strong performance by Gangstars. I think they struggled to close it out a little bit. A lot of that came from that Kraken steal, where after the, you know, you saw that turret go down, and they didn't want to risk it, right? They didn't want to even give up a single kill. So maybe that was what contributed to a little bit of a slower playstyle that last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. But overall, Gangstars really did not make too many mistakes whatsoever. Played a very good end-to-end game, and they played, someone mentioned, there a lot of unison in their play, right? They were really, even with a new player like Mac Daddy and Lulu coming in, there was a lot of synergy and how they attacked and how they you know, played together, which I think was really commendable. We are going to be getting into, of course, the second game in just a few seconds. Just check in with the teams to make sure they're ready. But I think if you're on the draft side, you know, Gangstars is in a great position. They have a very deep hero pool, and if Team FV's hero pool really is that small, they need to be conscious of that. Maybe first picking some of their comfort picks sooner than. And I really did not like. And this is the second time we've seen it, everybody. Do not like Lance into these healers. If the healers are still on the table, I'm really surprised we're not seeing Lyra or even Adagio come out in these circumstances.
Yeah, and, you know, as you mentioned at the beginning of the game, the HyperX player to watch was Lulu, and huge performance, huge debut performance coming out on this Gangstars lineup. 14-1-7, participated in 23 of the, or 21 of these kills. Huge performance out of this guy today. Definitely excited to see him go forward. Xenotech was able to get a lot of very aggressive splash damage down, and just those really strong executes coming out of Blackfeather were able to clean up a lot of those kills. Going with a second War Treads on Blackfeather, as we did have some changes to the way his Faint of Heart works, definitely gave them a lot of additional engage potential. So as we get ready to get into draft number 2 here, I do think we have to, like you said, get on some of those comfort picks for the side of Team FB. They made away the Glaive first, which is interesting to me, and Gangstars answers back very quickly with the Catherine.
Yeah, now this is a point where I'd really like to see Team FE go with one of these healers. It seems like a lot of these teams don't. Unfortunately, they need that Kestrel pick. So Gangstars has a good shot of taking one of the healers and banning the other one away, which may be the strategy they take in this case. With Kestrel pick, though, and Catherine banned, it could be a little interesting. Kestrel is typically pretty strong into almost everybody except Catherine. So I'm kind of curious to see what Gangstars will do in that case to try to deal with this, potentially this Kestrel being very powerful for Team FE.
Yeah, it'll very likely be a Lyra banned away here by Gangstars, unless if they really are just trying to target the hero pool that FV has available to them. Obviously, this Kestrel first pick is a little bit risky, though. There's a lot of counter opportunity. I do like they took the Glaive out of the picture, as Glaive is a pretty decent pick into the Kestrel. But we have the Grace, who has a lot of engage potential, as well as has that Retribution perk, which does allow her to reduce some of the incoming damage from Kestrel. It ends up being a Baptiste ban here out of the side of Gangstars, so that Lyra will be available as the rotation comes around. I'm almost not sure that FV is just comfortable playing the Lyra.
Yeah, I don't think they are. I mean, they didn't pick it. They picked Lance over Lyra, and although Lance gives you a ton of crowd control, the meta just dictates these healers are so much more important when you play in these more synergized team fights, and I'd be surprised. Now, they may be wrong here, and of course, we could see Grace flex, although that's very unlikely. I think Gangstars plays a little bit more cautious here in the draft. Plays, on zero if they want it. Oh, wow. Well, then I'm wrong about that, because it does look like they will be flexing either Lyra or the Grace into one of these carry positions.
I'm going to tell you right now, I would love to see some old-fashioned lane Lyra come out of Lulu here. It's something we haven't seen in a long time, but if you can take an advantage early, it does provide a lot of single target as well as AoE damage. It is a Kestrel Samuel that comes out of the side of FV here. A lot of siege potential. Again, there's some varying degree of flexibility here for the side of Gangstars. We haven't seen Lyra in the lane for quite some time, but when paired with the Grace, Lyra's one downfall to being a carry is she is very squishy. But with that Divine Intervention, I definitely see some potential. And picking up the Finn here, definitely looking for that siege, as well as that combo potential that a Forced Accord, if it lands, does set up. Yeah,
and I really actually surprised Team FE maybe didn't identify the fact that you've got this double heal. Double weapon with those poison shivs might have been effective. It's a possibility. Instead, Kestrel typically doesn't build the poison shiv. She really wants to rely on those glimmer shots dealing the brunt of her damage. So you're really not going to have a strong counter item-wise to this heal. So you're going to have to just outlast them. And I do like Finn. Finn's going to be able to take one of them out of their comfort zone. But my guess is with the Lyra and the Grace, you're going to be able to protect that person very easily. Whoever gets pulled, which will negate a lot of what Finn's going to bring to the table. And it's going to be a Scarf. So again, a squishy back, but it makes sense to go with something very powerful but squishy when you've got so much heal and protection between Grace and Lyra.
Yeah, and with the Scarf pickup, I do think this is going to be a Captain Lyra with very likely a weapon carry Grace. Now, there are some downfalls to the weapon carry Grace. Again, I mentioned it before. If you're using your abilities mid-fight to heal your team or to get stuns down, then you're not getting that raw damage potential that Grace can provide. So it'll be interesting to see how Gangstars ends up playing this one out. I do like the Scarf into the Finn specifically, though. Obviously, Finn provides a very easy target for Scarf to hit with those Spitfires, build up Broken Myth stacks very easily, and then can really force a fight ahead.
Yeah, definitely something. There's a win condition here for the side of FV, but it's going to be a slim one at that.
Yeah, definitely going to be a bit on the slim side again. I think Gangstars particularly just outskills Team FV incredibly hard. Lulu got a huge performance in that first game on Blackfeather. He is going to be playing the Scarf this game, so very likely going to be that lane Scarf. And again, just that Broken Myth, so easy to build up against the Finn that I don't see this being an easy game for FV here. I do like the composition they've set up here. I do feel like this is more of their comforts. But again, this is a very strong Gangstars lineup that we've seen so far.
We'll have to see if Gangstars puts the final nail into the coffin of FV for this summer tournament. We're jumping into game number 2 right now. I'm going to kick it over to our casters, Denomine and Sean Onestino.
And we're back on the Halcyon Fold. Aren't we, Denomine?
We are indeed back. Sorry about that. My game was freezing up a little bit there. I didn't know if I had to force close or not. But it is back to resumed. So we will be good to go getting into this game. Lulu picking up a Crystal Bit and a Energy Battery is going to be this lane Scarf. Xenotech, Double Weapon Blade on Grace. Going to be the Jungle Weapon Carry again. A very aggressive pick that we really like to see Xeno on as those very aggressive junglers. So it's going to be exciting to see how he plays out this jungle Grace.
Yeah, and I expect him to be picking up a tension bow. That's always really good for her benedictions. When you get in there, you get that burst damage coming off with the tension bow proc. It's going to be really helpful for Grace early early game, and it looks like there's a little bit of engage here.
Yeah, a little bit of fight breaking out here. Nothing too extravagant so far. Silva does drop pretty low, as well as the Samuel down here in the jungle dropping very, very low. And now he is in a very interesting situation. Spitfire comes through. If we can find a couple more hits, we might be able to drop the Samuel. Xenotech coming over the wall accidentally finds a minion, though. And just like that, that is going to give the side of FV an opportunity to make it out here safely. And actually, Gangstars is the one that gets forced back a little bit on low health there.
They did. They were going really low, and Gangstars actually had to use that sigil to heal up the rest of the team. It gives FV a little bit of a window to get some farm.
It does give them a little bit of a window, and again, they really need to use this siege potential to its win condition. Samuel needs to get a lot of rotations into the lane, help the Kestrel force the wave under turret as frequently as possible. Scarf does have a difficult time in the early game getting last hits, but with a huge engage coming out of Gangstars down here, Xenotech does almost drop, but they do find first blood. But Silva with a good rotation down
and
does get a chance to find Mac Daddy B, and Xenotech does make it out on a sliver of health there. Interesting fights so far. First blood bounty does go over to Gangstars, though. Gonna get a little additional gold in Mac Daddy's pocket. Gonna get that fountain out hopefully pretty quick here. And again, Scarf just doing a good job here so far into the Finn. I mean, you know, we saw some good damage there coming out.
Yeah, we saw those the groups coming down the Spitfires, and Finn is just that's the thing about Finn. He's unstoppable, right? With his heroic perk, he can be slowed, but it's just the thing is he's just so slow himself already, so that he absorbs so much of the damage, and it's easy for the Scarf to build up those Broken Myth stacks once we get Broken Myth on him.
Yeah, again, Broken Myth going to be very easy to build up, and another kill is found on Finn. He's so slow, and the lineup that Gangstars has put together has a lot of speed. Scarf, not particularly the fastest hero, but with that Imperial Sigil pop from Lyra, definitely gives him a lot of potential to get in there and keep the fan the flames burning. But now Xenotech and Mac Daddy here on to Silva. Will they be able to find a kill? They do! That is the third kill now for the side of Gangstars. And Xenotech looking to rotate down and maybe find some more farm here if he can. Shop not quite yet available to him, but very likely going to be into that Tension Bow double monocle build is what I would assume. And now making a heavy engagement here onto the Samuel, is able to find some damage, but as Finn rotates down, Xenotech does back off, and Scarf now rotating down, looking to find that shop as well. 1,500 gold in his pocket, ready to spend.
And there's the Tension Bow coming out of Xenotech. Now it's going to give him some really good burst with his Benedictions coming into battle with that proc. There's win conditions that I want to see coming out of FE here, and I want to see Force Accords coming out. I want to see Polite Companies coming down as well. Oh, and then we've gotten Engage.
Yep, and Kestrel going in a little bit too far there. Does get killed there underneath the turret. That is going to be a kill credited over to Lulu on the Scarf. And with that Frostburn available, ready to go, there's a lot of utility if he's able to find a Spitfire onto the backline. It is going to keep somebody in a position where Xenotech can jump in and ideally get a good Holy Nova down. And Xenotech looking to steal away some jungle here, but Silva comes through and does find that farm, but is a little too far away. But, man, I actually missed it up there in the lane. Mac Daddy does find a kill onto Meaty.
Yeah, Meaty actually went down, and I don't know what he was thinking because the win condition with Samuel is you have to kite. You can't be going into your enemies and face-checking bushes. You've got to be backing off, use those Malice and Verdicts with the Drifting Dark to kite backwards. Don't kite into your enemies. And that's what we saw here. So what he needs to do is he's got a Frostburn, which is great. You know, that's his first tier 3 item. He needs to be able to kite backwards or at least keep a good distance between him and the rest of Gangstars.
Yeah, the Frostburn definitely going to help keep Gangstars back. We definitely need to see a little bit more farm get onto this Samuel, though. He is a little bit ahead of Xenotech, but he has to get that Broken Myth complete if he really wants to be a game changer in these fights. Just like that, though, Xenotech is coming in, doesn't quite find the kill, and Mac Daddy actually dropping dangerously low himself is forced to fountain himself. Xenotech using the Divine Intervention is going to help him get out, but Lulu is going to drop. as well as Mac Daddy, they do find the kill onto Ames, and now that is another 1-for-1 trade, but now this is a good opportunity for FV. They do find the ace, and just like that, Silva will now be able to push in and get some damage down on this turret. He might, even if he quits focusing on the minions, be able to take the turret down and help his team get some gold. Would be the most ideal scenario here. He is going to be able to clean it all up and still get that turret, but now he's a little far forward. He is going to make it out safely, though. That is a ray of sunshine there for the side of FV, though. They are still down a little bit in gold, but they are now up in objectives.
That is exactly what Team FV needs to do. They need to keep to their win conditions, keep their range, keep their range, and just keep poking from a distance. Those glimmer shots coming out of Silva, the Malice and Verdict's empowered coming out of Meaty, getting that extra range on there. We already see that Silva has picked up 2 tier 3 items with that Tyrant's Monocle and Sorrow Blade. So those glimmer shots are going to be hitting really hard now. We know that Silva as Kestrel is just, it's really squishy for her. She just needs to be able to position really well, and that was a well-executed team fight.
It was really well executed for the side of FV there. Again, a little bit of a silver or a light in the darkness there for them. They lost that first game pretty drastically, and so to show some aggression here and find that first turret over Gangstars is definitely looking good for them. Gangstars, however, does clean up the gold mine, and now Mac Daddy taking a lot of damage again. Kestrel, a very squishy captain, not quite able to frontline as much damage as maybe an Arden or a Lance would be able to. And now they're looking to get some aggression down on this turret. Again, Samuel doing a good job this game. I think getting on these comfort picks was really huge for them. That is turret number 2 now. Dragonfire comes out, burning down the enemy team. Mac Daddy takes a lot of damage, though. Again, Lyra just not able to sustain those glimmer shots. And just like that, FV is looking like they could take some additional kills here in this game. Samuel's pretty low on energy, so they do have to be careful. And we need to get that broken myth out here quickly out of Samuel if we don't want this game to turn around. Xenotech is almost at that monocle second item.
Yeah, that was a really good team fight denominator. I liked the positioning that Ames had as Finn. From that brush, Gangsters had to come up from the south, right? And that allowed him to body block for Silva and Meaty as they sieged that turret. Really good team fight right there. And it's resulted in 2 turrets down for Gangstars. Team FV just continuing to push here. And it looks like for this game number 2, shoes on the other foot for Gangstars.
Yeah, and again, we saw them ban away the Kestrel in the first game, so really trying to target that hero pool. But the Samuel and the Kestrel both made it through this time around. So, again, this heavy siege comp with the Finn able to soak up a lot of that damage from Scarf. Now, as this game goes on, Lulu does have that broken myth now. He is going to be able to scale up some of that damage as he hits Finn. But that's going to give Silva and Meaty here opportunity to get a lot of return damage down.
They are, and it's interesting that you bring up the broken myth. Now, that's a good power spike for Scarf. The question is, will he be able to get those broken myth stats down? Judging by the last game, Lulu is obviously a very mechanically skilled player, so we're going to see those broken myth stats build up.
Yes, we will, and as he's getting those Spitfires down, he is now already at 3 stacks. The force support doesn't quite come through. Mac Daddy with a good block. Lulu still building up broken myth stacks, now at 5 stacks. Gangstars could look to turn this fight around really quickly. 6 stacks now, 7 stacks now. And this fight has turned really quickly. Finn is getting very, very low. That Spitfire comes through, finds Silva for 300 damage. Gangstars, if they continue this aggression, 8 stacks now on Lulu. They could find some huge damage here. And FV is doing a good job making sure those stacks do now drop off. 5 stacks, 4 stacks, dropping quickly. And that is going to be FV making it out safely there. A little bit of a gold advantage still on the side of Gangstars despite being 2 turrets down.
Yeah, and that was a really good disengage from Team FV. They know that Gangstars have the upper hand here. They have the experience on their side. They're being a VG8 team. They've been having really tight rotations, good macro play, but we're just seeing Team FV playing to their win conditions, kiting, sieging these turrets, Finn absorbing that damage, and when they notice those broken myth stacks are building up, they disengage. They don't want to get caught out.
I want to make note of the Samuels build there, though. He did actually go with the Eve of Harvest second item. We do have 2 monocles now complete on Silva as well. I think, personally, I would have liked to see the Broken Myth come out before the Eve, though, but maybe you can give us a little bit more insight on what they're aiming for here.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I was just talking about the Eve of Harvest second item on Samuel.
Oh, yeah.
I think I would have liked to see him go for that Broken Myth second instead, and really try to force Mac Daddy out of that front line.
Yeah, I would have preferred that too. It seems like the whole reason he went for Eve is because he wanted to do some sustain. But well, there's some good glimmer shots coming out right now.
Yes, there are some good glimmer shots out, and again, Lyra just not the best target for blocking out that frontline damage that a Samuel and Kestrel could put down. And Gangstar is actually just going to take this opportunity to just give up the gold mine. And for the really the first time in this game, FV does have an advantage now in gold. Silva with 3 items complete is just hammering out some huge damage onto Mac Daddy B. We need to see Mac Daddy probably complete a metal jacket here if he wants to survive in this front line. Obviously, with Scarf in the back line, he needs to be able to protect Scarf if they want to win these fights.
Yeah, and there's, good one-shot, one-kill comes out.
The Forced Accord comes through that time. Unfortunately, it's not onto the right targets. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't. That was the Plate Company. Sorry, I mixed up the names there. Forced Accord does come through, gets blocked up by Mac Daddy B, and now Lulu looking to find some damage here. Mac Daddy is forced out. Fountain is still available for him, though, as well as the Divine Intervention on Xenotech. Spitfires coming through are finding some pretty good damage. A good goop. Xenotech comes in with a good benediction there, finds some good damage, but Mac Daddy is forced back. Fountain still on hand for both teams. These fights are starting to go pretty back and forth. Again, Lulu getting that Broken Myth online was absolutely huge for Gangstars, and now they maybe be looking to come in here and find some more damage. Xenotech looking to come around. Will he be in a dangerous spot, though? He is dropping very, very low. He does end up dying first in this fight. Now Mac Daddy being forced out. They do find the kill onto Finn with a goop, and unfortunately, Meaty is not able to find... Oh, man, Oblivion does miss. Lulu looking to get this Treant here, top himself up on some energy, and maybe come in and find a fight still for Gangstars. Imperial Sigil comes out. Goop comes out. Not quite able to find Silva. He does actually get it with the burn. And now, just like that, Samuel should be able to pick up a kill. Not quite the ace, but he should be able to find a turret. Oh, very dangerous here. Xenotech looking to come in and find this kill has at least forced him off of the turret, saving a little extra gold. I don't think he quite has the range on the benediction to get this kill, and Xenotech is now going to be forced out. I think if Xenotech wants to find some additional kills here in these fights, he does need to get into a third offensive item. He does have some defense built up for himself, but again, with this Grace being a carry, you really need to find enough burst damage to make up for the fact that you're going to be using your abilities in the middle of the fight. You're not going to be able to consistently get those attacks out, so you want to get as much upfront damage down as you can.
If Grace had a Sorrow Blade on her at that point, that fight, or actually Samuel kiting back, would have gone the other way. But there's another engage coming out here.
There is, and Finn's taking a lot of damage. Only 3 Broken Myth stacks. That Forced Accord does not get blocked. It's pulled right into an active camo, and Lulu gets blown up immediately. Crucible is forced out of Mac Daddy to block that Oblivion, and Xenotech and Mac Daddy are looking to get out here safely. But now with the Kraken coming on the board, FV has a lot of damage potential where they could take this Kraken very quickly. They just do have to be careful. We've seen historically Lyra's being very good at stealing away Kraken with that Imperial Sigil burst.
Yeah, if she portals in with her Arcane Passage or uses an Imperial Sigil, she could bring the Kraken down on that last hit. This is a really precarious situation here because both of these heroes... Grace and Grace. There it goes. There's the steal.
There's a steal from Gangstars, and just like that, they find a kill onto Ames. Silva drops dangerously low as well. They now have to be careful about that active camo trap, but they just Arcane Passage right over it. Xenotech now looking to find a kill onto Samuel. Oh, he does find it with the second hit of that basic attack. That Spitfire coming through a little late. Does not find Silva, who has completed a 4th offensive item, as well as some Tier 3 boots. And now as the Kraken marches down the lane off of a good steal from Xenotech, This game is looking more in Gangstar's favor now. Scarf very good at taking turrets. Xenotech dangerously low here. Will he make it out? It does not look like he's going to make it. That last turret shot comes through, and Forced Accord does not get blocked. And now will Silva be able to find a kill here? It's very, very risky to go any further. Lulu is going to make it out safely, and actually the Drifting Dart gets wasted. So Samuel's going to miss out on some of that additional damage here on the Kraken as it makes short work of this turret. Going to drop it very, very low before it drops.
What? Sorry.
Just go ahead.
180-degree turnaround in this game. We had 5 turrets up for the side of FV, and now we have 3 turrets, which the choke point turret fell in their base, and it's all because of one Kraken steal, thanks to Xenotech sticking around and hitting it with that benediction in there. What a play!
Yeah, really good play out of him. Again, the build that he has does have a lot of burst with that tension bow proc, as well as the monocle. So that's something that we really saw in that fight. Xenotech now has the Aegis and Metal Jacket complete, which will allow him to survive in that front line a bit longer, and will very likely be working into another monocle here when he gets the chance to. Has picked up another infusion, though, and now Lulu looking to build up some of those broken mid stacks. Finds a couple hits onto Ames. Forced Accord does get blocked by Mac Daddy B. Really good mechanics coming out of this captain. War Treads is used to try to get the team out, but that Crucible was used to block the pull, and now the sleep does go through. Xenotech does get the Divine Intervention off, will heal himself, and will he find a kill onto Samuel? Not quite. Fountain has been popped on both teams now. Mac Daddy very, very low. Lulu has to be careful as he's on this front line now, but he does find a Goop and a Spitfire, and just like that, that fight has turned around. Gangstar's now up with 2 kills there. But unfortunately, Mac Daddy does go a little bit far, but that is now going to be an ace for Gangstars, and they should have the damage to push at least one of these turrets, as that one is very, very low. It's just going to be really risky for them to try to take the game, as Silva is going into a 5th offensive item here on this Kestrel and will be up in just 10 seconds.
That is the great thing about a weapon-powered Grace, is that even though you're going weapon power, she's still able to do so much damage, and her Holy Nova just absorbs so much, 40% damage reduction whenever she has it up. It's a really great tool that's just built into her kit. And I wanted to touch on Ames actually using that polite company during the last team fight. Why? You pulled them closer to you. You assure that we can't see him get away very quickly because of his movement speed, but they pulled him closer, and it allowed Gangstars to catch up to Meaty as well and be able to take him down.
Yeah, and just like that, Gangstars is starting to find some of these key fights that they need. Only 1 turret stands between them and a 2-0 victory. Silva, working into a very offensive build here, is very susceptible to, if Xenotech is able to jump in on him, that's going to be a huge amount of burst damage, obviously having no armor. And with that infusion popped and the Lucky Strike in Xenotech's build now, he's going to have that additional crit available to him. However, only a couple turrets alive for Gangstars as well, and again, we've seen the power that Kestrel and Samuel can push in even by themselves and push 3 turrets, especially with a 5th item being built on Silva. If they can find one more fight, they could very likely find a game for themselves.
They need to be really careful here, and Ames needs to frontline a lot of this damage, because if it gets onto the squishy heroes, then Team FE is going to be done for.
And a good stun does come through on Mac Daddy. The Fountain and Crucible have not yet been used. Some good splash damage coming out here. Lulu actually gets pulled in from that Forced Accord, does not quite drop, and Xenotech is now getting very low. Actually, all of Gangstar is very low, while FV looking very, very healthy. The fortified health coming out of that polite company definitely doing wonders, keeping the team alive. The FV actually does secure that health treant and get some damage down. Mac Daddy B does drop. Ames has to be careful here, as he is very low as well. But if FV is able to find Xenotech and Lulu, they might be able to push a win here. Ames dropped very, very low, is likely going to drop. Gangstars low on energy, getting a lot of damage down. Oh. Mac Daddy B drops, and now Lulu does miss that Spitfire that would have killed Meaty. Is in a dangerous position. If Silva is able to find him, might be able to blow him up very quickly. Meaty does make it out. Silva is almost out. Lulu does not find a Spitfire, so that is going to be now another fight required from both of these teams if they want to end the game. Basically, no gold. One shot, one kill comes through just a second late. Wow. These fights have been absolutely crazy.
You're absolutely right, Dominic. There's a lot of vision that's down all over the place for both Team FV and Gangstars, and that's it's interesting because despite that, Lulu actually sort of went into the enemy jungle looking for the remaining players, and he wasn't able to find them. If he had gotten a Spitfire group combo down, he would have perhaps gotten the ace and finished them off. They were at pretty low health.
Yeah, these fights have been incredibly back and forth for a while now. Silva does have a third monocle now complete on this Kestrel. So definitely that tier 3 armor out of all of the members of Gangstars doing a lot of damage reduction there. There's a lot of burst, but again, you get, with no pierce, you get so much additional benefit out of that armor. You reduce so much incoming damage. And with the tension bow nerf, it has dropped now from 12% pierce down to 10%. This is going to be an interesting next fight. Again, there's enough damage on the side of FV that if they do find an ace, they could push for a win here and take us to a game 3.
Yeah, I agree. If they just meet their win conditions, which is they just got to frontline the damage, and although here's the engage in the tri-bush.
Yeah, we got a fight breaking out. Dragon's Fire is coming out. Xenotech dropped very, very low. The Divine Intervention is going to save him. Oh, but if Samuel drops here, he does, and now this is looking very good for Gangstars. If they can find another kill, there's only one turret that stands between them and a victory.
Good stun.
Oh, Mac Daddy making it out on a sliver of health. That is now Ames dropping, and it is going to be Gangstars looking to probably start up this Kraken. Silva has a lot of damage and could come in here and find something, but it is also very risky, as obviously giving up an ace here is going to give a victory over to Gangstars. Using the active camo to get into a good position, though. Will he be able to get this steal? It's going to be really iffy. And now that is just Gangstars turning on him. He has another opportunity. Not quite going to find it. Not quite going to make it out of here safely either. It does look like Gangstars should be able to collapse. He actually is going to make it out as Gangstars does stop to get some hits down on that Crystal Sentry. Oh, man.
Nice disengage from Silva. That's what he needed to do there. If he had gotten killed and staggered the death timers, then it would have been just even more trouble for his team.
I do want to point out an actual really good purchase out of him that might have gone unnoticed otherwise. He did pick up a Crystal Infusion, giving him enough crystal power that that active camo lasted long enough for him to get out. That was a really smart pickup from him there. And if they are able to find a fight here, they still could have a chance in this game. But Lulu, very accurate with these Spitfires, is forcing the Samuel down very, very quickly.
I'm so glad they moved to the other side.
Blocked, and now with an exposed Vayne and a pretty healthy Kraken still available, this should be Gangstars taking this game. Number 2. Yep, that is going to be Kraken finishing off the game here. Gangstars win a 2-0 victory over Team FV, but I must say, Team FV had a absolutely great performance in game number 2 as opposed to game number 1. Sean, what really came down in that last fight? What allowed Gangstars to win out on this game, get that Kraken taken down, and push for a victory?
Well, I feel like the vision game was really good for Gangstars. Both teams had a lot of vision down. Kudos to Team FV for putting up a really good fight. But we had a little bit more vision with those scout traps going into the side of Team FV, and that allowed them to spot out when some of the members, Gangstar was able to spot out when a lot of the members of Team FV were coming in. But they had good siege in the beginning of the game for Team FV. They were able to take down 3 turrets, but once we had this Scarf come online, Xenotech was doing really well with that burst damage coming out of this weapon-powered Grace. They just went ahead and steamrolled them and turned the game around 180 degrees.
Yep, and with that, that is going to be the end of our series for tonight. We'll be bouncing on over to the desk with me and Dragonborn to touch up on a couple of things that we saw today and maybe give you a little bit of insight on what will be going into our next games on another day.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Denomine. Really close matchup. What a turnaround from the first game. Everyone was saying in chat, "Oh, this is boring. This is easy." And the Gangstars give it a run for money. I think that they were definitely wishing they could take back that first ban and take the Kestrel off the board, because definitely also big props to their team for identifying that Kestrel in game 1. We could be having a completely different series if that was not the case, but of course, taken down to the wire there. You did see, of course, Kestrel coming on for FV in a very big way, nearly pushing his team to victory day. Gangstars just barely sneaking back into this game, making that comeback happen.
Yeah, Gangstars was able to close out 2 games 2-0 against FV, but again, this is a VG8 team against a team that I really hope signs up and competes in the next season for Challengers. They had a really good performance there in game number 2, so I think if they stick together and work out some of these kinks and expand their hero pool a little bit, they could be a pretty good contender going forward. They showed a lot of mechanical skill in that second game.
They did. A lot of props to them. We've really seen some impressive performance across all the teams here in VIS Pro. And I will say on a one note, the Xenotech on the Grace, one of the things that you notice when you see that playstyle that really is a deterrent for Xenotech is the fact that he has to stop for that Divine Intervention, for that heal. Really slows down the pace of those fights. I think that this was something Gangstars wanted to try, see if it could work. Didn't seem like it quite was what they were looking for. Didn't have the impact I think we usually expect from Xenotech in the jungle. So with that day, looks like we are done here for today. Let's take a quick look at the bracket that we have so far and get an idea of what's going to be coming in for the rest of the week. Of course, there you see on the left-hand side, Immortals and Tribe Gaming will be going head-to-head next week. Gangstars and Echo Fox will be that second series we've determined. But tomorrow and on Friday, we're going to be rounding out the groups of 16 here. Hollywood Hammers and Unity, Necrolite and Intensity are going to be our matchups tomorrow. You guys are not going to miss those games. They're definitely going to be pretty exciting as we keep working through the bracket here on the VIS Professional Summer Season. Thanks to everybody for coming out and watching, of course, tonight. We will be starting up our stream at the exact same time, as always, at 6 p.m. Pacific, so don't miss the action. Get here early, as we'll have a lot of games and a lot of analysis going into them throughout the whole night. All right, with that, everybody, thanks to our casters, our moderators, and to all you viewers coming out and watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.